Baseball season is officially upon us. Welcome in, Ben and Woods 97.3. The fans get our heads right. I tell you, it's the rightest that it's been in a long, long time here on the Ben and Woods program. Good morning to you. Happy Monday. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He's the executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Good morning, Benny.
Good morning. Well, I think like we said last week, we all wish they had the Super Bowl on Saturday, so
Yes.
we weren't still recovering from the Super Bowl at 6 a.m. on Sunday. Overtime game went late, so yeah, I'm feeling a little bit of the after effects of our Super Bowl party still.
You know, I'm not feeling many after effects. The thought of baseball got me out of bed this morning. It's funny, in the chat here, our buddy Eric says, Jocelyn, our friend, said, baseball's back. And Eric said, absolutely, only now we have a week of breaking down a boring football game. I'll tell you something. You're going to get a few segments breaking down said football game today, and after that, it's over. I mean, what I promise you is this. We're not going to be coming in here tomorrow going, all right, let's talk about that screen. I've been thinking about it all night, Ben, that screen that they ran, and no. We're going to get it out of our system today. A lot to talk about with that game. Of course, we're going to go into all the commercials, all the pomp and circumstance of the game, our personal, goings on, all of that stuff. But you'll get some breakdown today. I'm feeling great. I won a good amount of money last night on the game, and boy, they made me sweat it out for every nickel last night. But somebody asked me, how much did you win? I said, let's put it this way: the Mrs. Hannah and Carol Woods will have a nice Valentine's Day, whereas she may not have. Had the Niners pulled that out yet, she may have gotten the old drugstore card. She's still going to get one of those. They're $14.95 a piece, by the way, now. If you go buy a card, when's the last time you buy a card? $15, like walking out the door. If it's anything more, if there's any pop-up in it or more than 7 words, it's $15 present now. So she was just going to get that. Now, I'll splurge. I'll go a little bit extra, the extra mile, if you will. How was everybody's weekend? Paulie started to tell us a story, and I go, shut up. Come on, man. I go, you got to save this for the open. That's terrible. And by the way, happens to me all the time. My reaction is one of a 4-year-old, a petulant.
Yes.
Ask Hannah about it after you tell your story.
DoorDash. Let's talk about DoorDash.
They'll get you, dude.
It happens to me, I feel like, all the time where they screw up an order, they forget something, whatever. And you go, you know what? This is the price I pay for my lazy ass not getting in the car and getting it myself.
Could have driven right down there and got it and double
8 minutes
checked it,
away.
Checked it at the counter. Said, all right, we're good. Saved you. And by the way, saved you 40% on the deal at least.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
So Friday night rolls around, and my wife and I have both been watching what we eat over the last 3 to 4 weeks. I've lost 12 pounds since fantasy camp, feeling really good. And we decided, you know what? Let's go crazy. On Friday night, Megan goes, you know what sounds really good? Let's get some wings. And you go,
damn good.
oh, that sounds good.
So good.
And I don't know why we weren't going to wait for the Super Bowl because we were going to have different foods on Sunday. But she goes, let's party tonight. I go, okay, 100%, I'm in. So we order up on Buffalo Wild Wings, have it DoorDashed to the house.
Audio, I think we're missing on YouTube.
Missing.
Yeah, somebody says no audio. Damn it, sorry. Right in the middle of the story. I just want to make sure you guys get to hear it.
Well, now I don't know how to do that.
Hello. You guys can hear us on the radio, YouTube? All right, good. I think we're good. All right, we're good.
So we get the food ordered, and it's on its way. First of all, it took an hour and a half on a Friday night.
Brutal.
Which
Yeah,
was
of course.
killing us. And when the order pulls up, I go out and grab it, bring it to the kitchen, open the bag, and I go, that looks like less food than we ordered.
Oh, yeah.
We each ordered, 6 wings or whatever each. And I look at the receipt. It was for Paul D.
Paul D.
Not
is the
Paul
mistake.
R.
Paul D.
So I don't know who is to blame. I think the DoorDash guy walks in, and they probably handed him a bag when he said for Paul.
For Paul.
And they just saw Paul, and they handed it over.
You got Paul D's order.
I got Paul D's order. So I don't necessarily know that Paul D got Paul R's order.
Paul D may not have the same palate as Paul R.
No. In fact, I can tell you he doesn't, because when I looked at the receipt, There was a small box of onion rings, which, hey, I like onion
All
rings.
right, I'll eat those.
Probably not the first thing I would have ordered from a wing place, but I digress. There was a piece of caramel cheesecake.
I'm not finding too much wrong with this yet so far. So I'm 2 for 2 on going.
I was trying to.
Are there wings,
cheat.
though? Are there wings in this order?
No wings.
No wings.
I was trying to cheat, not go completely off the freaking wagon. I didn't need a drizzled caramel cheesecake. And then it was a double bacon cheeseburger with like 10 additions and subtractions. Like blue cheese, mushrooms. I mean, this guy ordered.
My dad. It was Gary W.
Every topping that was possible for a burger, he threw it on there. And I just looked at it, and Megan walks into the kitchen and goes, "What happened?" I go, they screwed up." She goes, "Oh, they forgot my order, didn't they?" I go, "No, they didn't forget. They forgot both of ours." And I just sat there. I had an hour and a half anticipation of like,
just rage.
We're finally going crazy tonight. Gonna cheat a little bit.
Yeah,
get some good wings.
There's no fruit like forbidden fruit, and you waited an hour and a half for your forbidden fruit, and it showed up and had blue cheese on it.
You both have fairly common first names. Paul, Steve, very common. Ben is a little less so, but pretty common. Is there an argument to be made when you sign up for your DoorDash that maybe you use a unique fake name like Elvis? Like if you signed up as Elvis Reindl,
they're not going to mess.
They're not going to mess it up, because if the order's for Elvis, they're going to get the right one. Like there's no mistaking it, because there's not going to be another Paul that's probably ordering at the same time.
I got a picture of the receipt. They also had a lemonade, which they just entirely forgot that. I would have drank the lemonade.
They're 80%. Forget the drinks. 80%.
Yeah, caramel drizzled cheesecake. Double cheeseburger with pepper jack, mayo, 2 slices of bacon, mushrooms, lettuce, tomatoes, onions, pickle slices, chipotle barbecue.
Oh, my God.
I'm sorry. If you want that order, Paul D., if you
get
want
your
a
ass
burger,
down there.
No, if you want a burger and cheesecake,
yes!
why aren't you ordering from the Cheesecake Factory?
Thank you.
Why are you ordering from Buffalo Wild Wings?
If I ordered honey barbecue, but Paul D ordered your medium buffalo,
you're not
ordering
ordering wings. You're ordering a burger and cheesecake.
And onion
There's
rings.
literally a restaurant that has it in its title that
That's
I'm
what
sure
pissed me
can
off the
make it
most.
to your house.
All right, here's the question though. So did you eat any of it?
We ate a couple of the onion rings, and I just threw the rest out. I was like, I don't want this.
What a now, Paul.
I mean,
Paul
order the
D,
right food from the right places. If you're going to order
Yes.
from DoorDash, go with what they're known for, what they're better
They've
at.
got 69 different flavors of sauce for wings.
If you want wings, order from Buffalo Wild Wings.
I assumed I would have gotten somebody else's, buffalo or whatever.
Yeah.
Different type of wings. I can live with that.
You would have eaten those.
I can live with that.
So Paul D.
But to get a burger, cheesecake, and onion rings
But
from
I'll tell
Buffalo Wild
for
Wings.
just as pissed as you were, Paul D was like, son of a bitch, I did not want a dozen wings. It's the last thing I wanted. I specifically
Well, you probably shouldn't order from Buffalo
Which is
Wild
why I
Wings.
first thought I'm going to order from Buffalo Wild Wings. What do you feel
incredible.
like? A burger, cheesecake. Where should we go?
And they ask,
Buffalo Wild Wings, of course.
they always ask, what did we screw up? So, yeah, you get to go in and tell them what they missed, and they refund you $14. You can use it to your next order.
Yeah.
But then you're sitting there, and you're without the thing that you wanted. I mean, that's really when my stuff gets forgotten. I'm a petulant child a lot.
I mean, it's one thing.
Nothing
It's like,
worse than that.
I wanted a condiment, and they forgot
Right,
that, or
right.
napkins and forks.
Sure.
What else? They forget that stuff all
It's a
the time.
whole different meal.
But I mean, it wasn't even close to the same order.
Oh,
and then
man.
again, just the most bizarre order from a wing shop.
Yeah, that
I
is a
could have
weird one.
possibly drawn up.
It's a weird one. I'm sorry that happened to you. Was it the universe telling you, hey, you're doing good.
Stay on track,
Stay on
idiot.
track, dummy.
Yeah.
Could be. You never know. Now, Benjamin. I'm looking at your recap, and I don't really have words for this.
I had a good weekend. I almost had a really, really, really bad weekend. So Shelly was cooking all weekend for our Super Bowl party that you guys had no interest in coming to. You missed out on an absolute feast. I mean, a feast. We had ribs, pulled pork, chili, chicken wings, buffalo chicken dip, pickle dip, onion dip. We had mac and cheese. We had a couple of different salads. We had chocolate cake. We had s'mores bars. I'm missing probably 5 or 6 different things that she made. Just an absolute Super Bowl spread to end all Super Bowl spreads. But it required a lot of prep, including a about 12-hour smoked pork shoulder.
Save that.
Say that fast.
Slow shoulder. Slow pork smork shoulder. Oh, I love the slow spork more shoulder.
So she had to do it overnight. So she said on Saturday, can you get the big green egg, our barbecue? Can you get it ready? Haven't used it in a while. I said, yeah, I'll fire it up, clean it out so it'll be all ready for you, because she wanted to start it like at about 10, 11 p.m.
Sure.
So it'd be ready the next day so she could pull it for the party and everything. And so I did in the morning. I fired it up, let it burn kind of out, get it all clean, and then I closed it up for a couple of hours, went and got ready for work. And then right before I left for work, I set up the barbecue for her so she could put it on later that evening while I was at work.
Right.
I cleaned out the old, the ashes that I had burned out, tossed them away. Didn't really think about it much because, it had been a little while, and I thought, cool, no worries about it. This is why they tell you, though, dampen your ashes before you put them in the trash. Apparently, there were still some hot embers, and I got 5 hours later, I get a call from Shelly. Goes, the fire department's here because our trash cans caught fire and not smoldering, completely
in
fuego, like completely burning up. Our son went out to throw something away and goes, there's smoke, and then as soon as he opened it, it just burst into flames, completely melted, destroyed our entire trash can, and the start of the fence was charred, but fortunately not burned. It's in our side. It's in our side yard. Didn't get to the house, fortunately, but I was very close to burning down our entire house, possibly our neighborhood as well on Saturday. All's well that ends well, and I'm going to take some of our amazing leftovers and bring them to the fire department, the Encinitas fire crew that showed up and helped put out our trash cans. So I will be needing to get a couple of replacements. The recycling bin also melted the front of it, so we'll need a new one of those as well.
Squirrely says, smooth move. Very smooth.
Not good.
What an insult when we were 8. Yeah, smooth move, X-Lax. Was one of my favorites when I was a kid. Smooth move, X-Lax. Holy crap, Benjamin.
I will post a picture of the destruction
and
damage. My Saturday mistake. And we'll just post that right there. And now everyone can see, and Paulie can even put it up on the chat if he wants when he gets there. But again, thank you to the brave Encinitas firefighters who. Oh my God! There's the picture. Holy crap! I told you it wasn't. This wasn't just a little tiny fire. This was a significant, like almost burned down the house sort of thing. Benjamin. Yeah. Holy cow! It got completely.
So you got his Saturday mistake, and then the tweet that's under it that says "Discover more" from Benjamin Higgins says Ledee picks up his 4th foul for something way less than how he got hammered with no call on the other end.
That was Friday's mistake for the Aztecs, but. Yeah, there's not much left. I mean, that was that bin was bigger than the recycling bin before it started.
That just got melted.
That is.
You can see a little bit of the fence behind it got singed, but is okay for the most part.
And it was contained in the can, just smoldering inside?
Yeah, just kind of burned inside out there.
Well, I'm glad everyone's okay. And how'd you get it out? Water?
Well, they when I wasn't there, so they put the hose on it and called the fire department, and they put the big hose on it to completely put it out when they got there. And they said, you know what? We were bored to tears. There was no calls. We had been there for hours.
Thank you for
Nothing happened.
Burning down your neighborhood.
They said they were actually kind of glad for something to come due on a Saturday afternoon, they said. So I do appreciate their services. And
firemen do the best.
They're true heroes.
Absolute true heroes, saving idiots like us from burning down our homes. Glad that everybody is safe and sound inside the Higgins household. But yeah, man, I mean, ours was, compared to those two, I got nothing. Went out to dinner, had a great time at dinner with some friends, and laid on my ass most of the day Saturday, and to be honest, most of the day yesterday. My wife was supposed to take the kids away so that I could be unfettered, but I was very fettered yesterday. Very, extremely fettered most of the day. So it is what it is.
It is.
It is what it is.
Someone just said firefighters, EST3 says firefighters probably red flagged your house. Now, what does that mean?
That means you're on the watch list.
Is that good or bad?
No, they have a
think
list
it's good.
of morons, and they have
It's fine.
check marks.
I'd rather
Higgins.
be on that list. Like, we better respond quickly
To
if
this- to
anything
these
happens
people.
at this house. Sounds like a good list to be on. Like,
Mike says
we
you're
are ready
getting
to jump.
Mike says now this is going to kill him. It's going to ruin his day. Mike says also you're getting a bill in the mail for like $2,500.
That's what I was expecting. I don't really know how it works.
For what?
Don't our taxes already go toward
what's the
fire
bill
and
for?
emergency? I don't know how that works. Like, well, I know like
for
when
the
you get an
firefighters?
ambulance, they send like it's a private company,
But you got to pay.
and the private company sends a bill to your insurance.
You're going to
like,
have to replace your bins.
Yeah, I will definitely have to replace my
That ain't
bins.
trash
$3
bins?
That's not
grand.
$3,000 for a bin.
It's the service of them coming out and
The bins replacement's like $100 and something bucks. I think I
right.
saw.
No, I
what's
mean
the
for the
bill for?
firefighters coming out to
You
your
don't
house.
have to pay firefighters.
Isn't
to
that
come
what our
out.
taxes go toward?
I thought so. Again, another thing you can add to the list of I don't know what our taxes really
That's
do.
a good point. I don't
Okay.
really know how that works.
Insurance, no idea how it works. Taxes, no idea what that goes.
Oh, somebody's saying, is that because like did they do that if it's a false alarm? This wasn't a false alarm. Something was on fire.
Bro,
Yeah.
I've told you guys about my buddy that works down in Spring Valley that's the fire chief. And he showed me the list. He goes, people call us, and they're like, can you help me find my medication? And they have to go over there and give
This
them their
wasn't-
medication.
No, this wasn't that. This is
So-
what 911 is
But
for.
like, I highly doubt those people over there. Like, here's your $2,500, darling. Thanks for coming. I doubt very much that you're going to get a bill. You have to keep us in the loop, though.
I don't know. I'll keep you updated on the story.
Woo,
of
mama.
what happens when you accidentally set your trash can on fire.
All right, let's set the menu next on Ben and Woods.
Sounds good. We'll check traffic and we will get started. Tons to get to. We will be out live in spring training today, of course. Don't go anywhere on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So I feel like we're going to kind of bounce back and forth between the start of Padres spring training and yesterday's Super Bowl this morning. I can tell you that at 7:35 we'll have the first of our daily check-ins with Sammy spring training. Sammy Levitt made his way out to Peoria on Saturday. He took the long way to get there. Did you see that? On his journey.
The long way.
Well, he stopped in Alpine, which is on the way out on the 8, to get his coffee. But then his next tweet was from lunch in Calexico. And I'm going, I don't drive through Calexico on my way to Phoenix.
No, you
go straight through the
Yuma?
8 to Yuma, El Centro, Yuma. To Calexico, you gotta take that veer when you get out of the mountains to the south and go toward the border. I mean, it's on the way, but it's definitely a little bit of an extra drive. So he wanted to to experience.
We stay on the 8 and go towards Yuma, and in Ocotillo, what is that, the 98 freeway?
Yeah, you can jog down
over
toward Calexico. I've never been to Calexico, the great home of Ruben Niebla.
Maybe Sammy's a desert rat and wanted to stop and ride.
Well, he knew some taco place to go to.
He was eating
birria tacos. Birria tacos. I'm working on it. I really am.
And he got right in there with that camera, and he gave it one of those, the dip, and then the... And I was like, all right, that's the... I like, tell me how good it is. Right. I don't know that I need to see...
There's Mexican food on the route, if that's what you were looking for, but I have to ask him what drew him to Calexico in particular.
Probably those tacos, if I had to guess.
Seemed like they were good.
Right, how far out of the way is it?
I don't know. It's probably an extra 20, 30, 40 minutes to get down to Calexico.
It goes, once you veer over, it just goes parallel with
It's not the highway where, Woods drives...
100.
85.
100.
100.
Right.
You have to go a little bit slower, I believe, on that road. It's just the one lane. You can get behind someone. You're going to have to wait until you can go across. Do you, on those lanes, like those highway roads?
I get nervous about
You
passing.
don't do the dotted line pass?
I will if it's very clear that I'm safe. Very, very clear. But I'm not super aggressive on my passes.
So Sammy did make it to Peoria and then was there yesterday as Padres pitchers and catchers reported. The online content at our 97.3 The Fan social media accounts was incredible.
Well, it's
yesterday.
all Sammy. That's all Sammy.
That is all
yesterday.
Sammy.
Sammy absolutely knocked it out of the park on day. That's the thing. I got to talk to him. You don't set the precedent on day one of this, because now Adam's going to be like, hey, you only did 19 videos today. Day one was 40. You got to crawl a little bit. I got to manage Sammy a little bit better.
Yeah. That's on you.
That's on me.
Do
man.
we have?
I
Let's
did this because he is.
Can we play Yuki's a little bit of the sound here, because Adam, our boss, was so excited.
He was when he texted us yesterday
during the Super Bowl.
During the Super Bowl, by the way, I promise you, he was pantsless at his computer. Pantsless. I would bet anything that he was pantsless.
I'm sure you've probably seen it, because this tweet has gone around now more than 2 million times from our 97.3 The Fan account.
Nothing makes him happier.
New Padres reliever Yuki Matsui's first greeting to the media that had gathered in Peoria, and he wanted to read a statement, and he learned, and let's not discount how difficult this is.
Come on.
Imagine you going to Japan for the first time and trying to learn enough Japanese to be able to not just order something at a sushi bar, but to give an official statement to a gathered group. And there were a lot of media there, a lot of cameras, and you've got to stand up in front of television cameras and microphones and reporters.
That's awesome.
And speak in Japanese, and you've never spoken Japanese before. You've just been learning it at home. So let's not discount how impressive this was from Yuki Matsui. But this post went around over 2 million times yesterday.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Yuki Matsui. Hola, ¿qué onda todos?
And Spanish.
Mi nombre es Yuki Matsui. You can call me Yuki, Mats, Matcha, or whatever. First of all, I would like to thank following people who supported me to have this moment today. The team Padres and General Manager AJ, thank you for trusting me and giving me this chance. And my agents, Michael, Brian, and Koya, I'm so grateful for amazing support to make this happen. And my wife Anna also encouraged me a lot to make this major life decision for the entire family. Thank you, love you. Now, I'm so excited to join such an amazing team like Padres. Es muy padre. Padrísimo. Secondly, I would like to thank my parents, my former team, Tohoku Rakuten, Golden Eagles, and all my fans with, who supported me for 10 years in Japan. Without your support, I would not be here today and not be what I am now. Lastly, to San Diego and all Padres fans, nice to meet you. Mucho gusto. Here I promise you that I'll always give my best to bring you wins and joy through my pitches. My family and I are so glad to be a part of this beautiful city. So we would be happy if you give us a warm welcome. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
A warm welcome. I'll die for you. How about that? Is that enough for you? I'll die for that guy right now. Guy's got tears in my eyes right now.
Incredible.
At 6:30 on a Monday. All right, yeah.
You see him around town, buy that guy a sake.
Oh,
He's
it's dumb.
make him
Whatever he
feel
wants.
very welcome
Whatever
in San Diego.
he wants, man. You got tears in my eyes right now. It's the sweetest thing I've ever heard in my whole life.
But that post went viral, and Adam was very excited.
Pantsless text
about
in the
Sammy's,
middle of the Super Bowl.
Sammy's content.
All it was the picture and then the number circled. And I wrote, "That's too bad we don't make any money for that, Adam."
It's like we're talking fourth quarter of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, fourth quarter of the Super Bowl.
Tie game.
There's already 1 million views. I'm like, oh my God. It's sweet. He's a sweet angel, though. I mean, great job, Sammy. But yeah, Sammy probably did a little too much yesterday. We'll talk to him about it
if you
in an
didn't
hour.
see the rest of the content, we've got audio from Joe Musgrove, Mike Schilt talked yesterday, and more on the first day of Padres spring training. We'll have that for you coming up. But next, let's start with the game, the actual game yesterday. I thought, Paulie put it best. The first 3 quarters were not a good Super Bowl.
Absolute
But
snooze fest.
we'll remember
You
this.
saw how the game was. It was a close game, and I go, "This has been ass. This
been
entire game has sucked."
The first half was like, hold your eyelids open.
But
Like,
I
gotta
saw the
stay away
score,
from
and I
this.
go, "It's probably going to have some amazing finish,
Yep.
and everyone's going to come on Monday morning and
Oh,
just
it was
be like,
great.
what a great, entertaining Super Bowl."
I
No,
know.
it was an entertaining 8 minutes.
But it'll be remembered as one of the great Super Bowls for the last quarter and the overtime and what happened in the end. The decision by the 49ers to take the ball first. Some people criticize them for it. We can discuss that. And Patrick Mahomes building on a legacy that is already very impressive for a guy so young, still in his career.
Imagine making that guy the underdog and giving his team points. Patrick Mahomes got points over Brock Purdy last night. Let that sink in. Okay?
I don't know that you'll ever be getting points in a Patrick Mahomes Super Bowl ever again.
Shouldn't have gotten him in this Super Bowl either.
And hopefully some of you cashed in on that yesterday.
Some of us did.
I think you might have. So we'll get to that coming up next with Ben and Woods on a Monday. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
13 seconds to go in the overtime. 22-19 San Francisco. McKinnon is in at running back. First down and goal to go. Play action fake. Right side throw. Touchdown! Kansas City! McCole Hardman with the catch on the right side. A 3-yard touchdown pass in overtime. Kansas City wins the game. 25-22.
I think I was most amused by Mecole Hardman saying, I blacked out. I didn't even
completely.
know I scored.
Didn't know he won it.
Didn't know what was happening. Why are you coming to celebrate?
He did kind of turn once he got into the end zone
Yeah,
and look around,
what?
probably looking for a flag or something. And he goes, did that just happen?
Did we win?
We just won the Super Bowl.
Oh, I didn't
And
even know.
caught it.
I caught it?
That was me.
What a moment. What a moment.
Incredible finish to a very thrilling fourth quarter and overtime. A spectacle like no other. The first ever Super Bowl in Las Vegas.
Crazy.
I can't imagine what the after parties were like last night in Las Vegas.
Well,
I can't imagine that anyone who was there would even be conscious at 6 a.m. the next morning.
Our buddy, Dan Buckingham, who's one of our sales people here at Odyssey, I saw him on Instagram yesterday. Now, he was out in Vegas. Dan joins us right now. Dan, were you at the game or just watch a game from, I don't know, the Playboy Mansion, which is what it looked like on your Instagram?
Oh, God, come on, don't blow me up that bad.
Okay, I will.
Because I'm sure Michael and everyone else is on here, too.
Oh, hi, Michael,
Hello,
our boss.
Michael.
He's always here. Don't worry.
He was there. It looked like he was there selling and working and all that. But did you go to the game?
I didn't want to spend $10,000 like that.
Yeah.
Being in Vegas in and of itself was absolutely incredible. This whole weekend was a spectacle, to say the least. I was at the Mardi Gras Ballroom here at the Orleans, and it was 90% 49er fans. It was pretty epic.
You're a Niners fan, so I'm sorry for the loss.
99% of the game. It's okay, it's sports, right? I mean,
it
you win
is.
some, you lose some. But, man, what a game. The one thing I was questioning was given taking the ball first in that overtime.
Yeah.
I kind of thought maybe we should try to let our defense, see if we can stop Mahomes, and then maybe, I don't know, but to give him the ball. I mean, I thought the 49ers were about to get a touchdown there, and they blew it. Gave Mahomes a chance. You can't do that, man.
Not that guy. You're absolutely right, Danny. Sorry, go lick your wounds at the Orleans. We'll see you when you get back to the office, buddy. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks, Dan.
I'm sorry.
Not everybody realizes that even if the 49ers had scored a touchdown,
correct,
the game would not have been over.
Correct.
This was not like a regular season game. They changed those rules. They tried to explain it on the telecast, and I'm not sure it totally got over to everyone because a lot of people are not watching with sound or not completely paying attention to the game and what the announcers are saying. But the playoff overtime rules in football, which haven't come into play yet because there hasn't been any overtime games in the last couple of years, were implemented for the first time yesterday. And even if San Francisco had scored a touchdown with the ball first, the Chiefs would have had a chance to get the ball, go down and match the touchdown to either keep the game going, or they could have gone for a 2-point conversion to win the game if they had scored a touchdown on the second possession of overtime.
Now, it did make sense to me, and Jeff in the chat brings it up. The announcers mentioned one reason San Francisco took the ball was to give that defense that had just been out on the field a rest, as they had just had the drive against the Chiefs that tied it. Yeah, I didn't think about that. In every football now, what happens if you win the toss? We'll defer. We'll wait. I was surprised when they did it. Then Romo said, "Man, you got to remember that defense was just on the field. They were just on the field. Go down, score, and then you can stop them." I thought it was sound reasoning.
I can see the argument for both sides.
I disagree with that reasoning 100%. I'm going to explain why. We'll do that right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Problems along the 805 on the southbound side near the 52. Got a trash truck that's on fire. Not showing if any lanes are blocked. Then a stalled vehicle on the transition from South 805 to the 54. Northbound side of the 805, a stalled vehicle right at the North 163 transition. Another stall on the coastline, southbound 5. This is just before La Costa. It's over the right shoulder of the HOV lane. Traveling on northbound 125, another stalled vehicle just past Hamishaw. Tow truck on scene assisting with that. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So, yeah, the announcers, Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, said one of the reasons maybe the 49ers took the ball to start overtime rather than deferring, knowing we were still going to get a possession no matter what, was because they wanted to keep that Chiefs defense on the field, keep their offensive momentum going. I don't think that would be, for me, the reason to take the football first. There's an advantage to knowing what your opponent did. Like in college football, the college football overtime system where they get the ball at the 25-yard line and each team gets a possession. You definitely want to be the team that goes second, right?
Yeah.
There's no one has ever argued the strategy. They all defer and let the other team go first because if they score a field goal, we know, well, we need a touchdown to win. If they don't score at all, they go, all we need is a field goal to win. There's a huge advantage there to going
on third down in case there's a missed
Yeah, exactly.
snap.
There's a huge advantage there to going second. And in this case, the Chiefs, you could see it. They had a big advantage knowing every series was 4-down territory. Since the 49ers went down and kicked a field goal, we can't punt. We know we're going on 4th down, which means on 3rd and 6, changes your play call, your strategy. That is an advantage for the offensive team to be able to go second, to know that, what they have to do. So did San Francisco make a giant mistake in taking the ball first? Not necessarily, and I don't think it had anything to do with tired defense. Remember, if the two teams match their score on the first possession of overtime, let's say the Chiefs had stopped and had to kick a field goal, then it becomes sudden death. And when you get the ball first, you also get the ball third, right, which means you have the advantage of then getting the first shot at winning with any kind of score on the third time around. So there is an advantage to going first there if the overtime ends up stretching beyond the 2 possessions. In this case, it did not. The Chiefs smartly and, correctly went down the field, scored the touchdown, won the game, and San Francisco didn't get to touch it again. But to me, this is why they have this is the correct overtime method.
Yes.
This should be the overtime method all season long as well. Because
is it just for Super Bowl?
It's just for the playoffs. The regular season, if you score a touchdown first, the game is over, and the other team doesn't get to touch the ball. But the reason why I think it's correct is that I don't know, and I don't think the analysts truly know what is the more advantageous side, whether it's to get the ball first or to get the ball second. There's a really good argument for both sides, which means, hence, it's about as fair as you can make it.
Well, all I know is that the team that's gone second has won 100% of the time.
That's true. That's very true.
That is true so far.
Small sample size.
But had the 49ers defense come up with a red zone stop and forced a field goal, we would have been saying, boy, 49ers, that was smart to take the ball first because now they've got a chance to go down, kick a field goal, and win the game. And I think you can make a pretty good argument for getting the ball first, and you can make a pretty good argument for deferring and getting the ball second. And because of that, it makes me feel like the NFL has finally gotten an overtime rule correct in that you shouldn't give either team a huge advantage based on the flip of a coin.
No doubt.
To decide a game.
Always hated the coin flip bit. I think this is very fair. Let's talk about the very obvious pressure. And they were talking about it all night. And to see some of the players that normally are fairly unflappable, right? Christian McCaffrey doesn't cough up the football. Isaiah Pacheco does not make as many mistakes. There was one point, and they went to Shanahan on the sideline, and he was holding the play sheet. Did you guys catch this? And his hands were shaking. I mean, the pressure was tremendous. You could see it on defense. You could see it on offense. I will say this, too. My overarching thought of the game, it's the first thing I said to you guys when you walked in. I was very impressed by the referees last night. Very, very, very impressed.
Bill Vinovich, you knocked it out of the park. So did your entire crew. You had to call the obvious calls that the Chiefs were just shooting themselves in the foot after seemingly every play. And you thought, man, they're going to lose it. They're going to end up blowing this game. But I thought they called a really good game. I think they let them play. I would have hated that discourse after a huge game like that, Benny, of, oh, he missed this.
It was a catch, or oh my God, how did he not see him holding on to the jersey? Like, there was really none of that. None of that today. I thought that was a very fairly called game. The narrative about the Chiefs is they've been getting every call. I didn't think that was the case at all. I thought it was really well officiated, and the refs this morning breathing easy, having their morning coffee, knowing nobody's after us today. I did not see anything I thought was egregious or anything like that that was missed or called. So I thought, great job there. But the pressure, they're running the football, Ben, right down the Chiefs' throats. And you're looking at this. I was like, this is going to be bad. If they can do this all game, Chiefs cannot counter.
Felt like they kind of got away from that too.
They did. And they were talking about in the second half, they came out with 6 straight passes. The Niners did.
And Purdy was fine.
He was fine-ish.
But you got a guy like McCaffrey.
But does that fumble make you change your play calling a little bit? That one fumble from a guy that's not, doesn't do that a lot. I don't know, man.
I mean, you didn't see George Kittle at all. You barely saw Deebo Samuel at all.
Deebo had the huge play late in the game, and that's with a hamstring. That
Kittle had a big first down.
Yep,
but they were pretty quiet.
They were pretty quiet, man. I thought the pressure of that game, you could tell it was just weighing down on them, man. It was crazy.
We're often wrong in our predictions, so I'll give us all credit for this one. We all picked the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And I forget the final scores. I think I had them by 3. I think I had 31-28, so it wasn't quite as
10.
High scoring. But we all had the Chiefs, and I thought the discussion we had, and I know I thought this, I think you guys kind of agreed with me. I still think the 49ers are the better team, and when you look at them in total, that they're probably a little deeper. They've got a little more talent overall than the Chiefs. But the Chiefs somehow know how to win games in the end. And Patrick Mahomes was the better quarterback. And by the way, this is not a slight on Brock Purdy. Thought he played really well. Thought he did everything he needed to do to give his team a chance to win that game. Didn't make any big mistakes, made some good throws, timely throws that they needed to have. This was not the San Francisco 49ers losing this game. I don't think they're going to sit and kick themselves forever and ever. Oh, you will, but there were no... I mean, yes, the punt.
The muffed punt was brutal.
Yeah, it hit the back of someone's leg that can't possibly see where it's coming from. I mean, you can say he should have yelled louder to move. You're in a loud stadium. That's just some bad luck in my mind.
Sure.
You've got to overcome some bad luck to win a Super Bowl, and they did not overcome that luck. But to me, the Chiefs just know how to win. And at this point, if you could start a football team, you could take any player on any roster, and we're building our team around this guy, is there any argument for anyone other than Patrick Mahomes at this point?
There's really not.
You'd be crazy to build your team around anyone else.
Yeah,
the guy just knows how to win football games, especially in the most clutch of circumstances.
I was not, when it was 10-3 at half, I was like, Niners, you missed your chance here. You needed to put this team away. And I thought you had opportunities to do it. And if you're gonna lament anything, it's that. You're gonna lament not dominating that first half. But what would you feasibly need to be up to feel comfortable against Patrick Mahomes? 17-3, 24-3, and even then. But I'll tell you, the Chiefs came out in the second half, they got the ball. The first play from scrimmage loses 12 yards. Pacheco boots that. And I'm going, oh, my God, you should not give him the ball the rest of the game. And he ended up having some pretty tough runs.
The Chiefs had more negative plays, bad plays than the 49ers did.
That had forward progress stopped,
and then
he just ran backwards like 6 yards.
In overtime, I thought that was going to cost them the game there, perhaps.
They made all these mistakes, and they still found a way to win that game. That's a testament of a great team that knows how to win.
Usually when you say the team that made the most mistakes loses the game. Honestly, the Chiefs made the most mistakes in that game. The 49ers didn't make as many mistakes. Even the 2 fumbles by the running backs kind of offset each other. McCaffrey and Pacheco both had fumbles. It looked like their team was running in to possibly score. So those offset. Yeah, there was the special teams fumble, which to me was just a bit of bad luck that the 49ers couldn't overcome. But the Chiefs have something about them that when they need a win, they know how to get a win. And it's
49ers fans
impressive.
should be happy that this game even went to overtime because you gave Mahomes a chance to win it at the end of regulation.
Yeah.
And then he didn't get the job done there, but you gave him another chance. Well, he got another chance in overtime, and you're like, dude, you can't give this guy that many chances. He's that good.
You knew he was
and he took over with his legs.
You knew he was going to get the tying field goal. That's the one thing I think that they missed the Niners did. Brock Purdy using his legs a little bit more in the second half, at least. He threw the ball pretty well. That drive before the Chiefs got it back for the field goal. The first throw he makes was just a rocket right in the middle of the field. Catch. I'm like, okay, they're going to let him air this thing out. But yeah, dude, like Brock Purdy did not play terribly. He could have probably used his legs a little bit more. But other than that, man, thought it was a really well played game. Both teams made mistakes. They both overcame them. It was a good Super Bowl. This was a good second half.
Yeah, there was a lot of tension. I mean, that fourth down in overtime when Mahomes carried it himself.
Oh, my God.
I was even feeling it. Not even caring who won. The tension of that play, knowing if they stop them, the game is over. You win the Super Bowl right there. That was great sports theater, great sports drama throughout that overtime. And it'll go down, like Paul said, terrible first almost 3 quarters, but probably will end up as one of the greatest Super Bowls that we remember because of the great fourth quarter and overtime ending.
I'd watch it again. I'd watch that game again.
Just pick it up, though, in the last quarter.
Pick it up in the
You
last
don't need to watch
quarter.
the first 3 quarters again. That was fantastic. All right. We are 1 hour in. We will turn our attention now to Peoria, Arizona. Padres reporting pitchers and catchers to spring training yesterday. We're going to hear from some of the guys who were there. Michael King is definitely someone you're going to, I think, be very excited about as we get to know him a little bit more with the San Diego Padres. We'll hear from him, Joe Musgrove, and more in our second hour. Also play a little Take on Woods coming up next, all ahead on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So Kyle Shanahan did say after the game that it was a predetermined decision to take the ball first in overtime. That was their strategy. They wanted to be the one with the first and third possession, as we discussed, if the game went to OT. But we were just talking about it during the break. I don't know if you're the team that gets the ball second, like the Chiefs did, even if the 49ers had scored a touchdown and then you went down and scored a touchdown, can you really afford to kick an extra point and then give the ball back to the 49ers, knowing that now they can win the game with any point? The field goal wins the game. They get a good kickoff return. They're already close to field goal range. You've basically lost it. You don't even get a chance to touch the ball again. I think if you're the second team, you go for 2 and try to win the game right there. Win it or lose it in your hands, which means there will never be a third possession, which means there's no advantage to having the first and third possession if there's almost no chance there will ever be a third possession. Now, if you both get field goals, there will be a third possession. You can't necessarily just give up a field. If it's 4th and 10 and you're at the 30 and you got to kick a field goal to tie the game, then the 49ers would have gotten that third possession. So
here's Kyle Shanahan. Here's a quick answer of what he had to say about it.
It's just something we talked about with, that none of us have a ton of experience of it, but we went through all the analytics and talked to those guys, and we just thought it'd be better. We wanted the ball third.
You're a nerd,
matched and scored. We wanted to be the ones who had the chance to go win, and we got that field goal, so we knew we had to hold them to at least to a field goal, and if we did, then we felt it was in our hands after that.
Didn't know that Goose was one of the reporters there in the post-game session.
He heard analytics.
He heard analytics. He lost
couldn't
his
help
mind.
himself.
Right.
Goose Gossage, Dallas Morning News.
Yeah.
You're a nerd, too.
You're a nerd, too, Kyle.
You're a nerd, too.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, let's turn our attention to your San Diego Padres, who are waking up early in Peoria, getting back to work for day 2 of Padres spring training. Usually pitchers and catchers reporting is a fairly innocuous day. It's mostly exams and paperwork, but they were actually out there getting some work done, and I think that is part of the urgency that Mike Schilt wants to install at this spring training for the San Diego Padres. And I think urgency is going to be a watchword this season, Woods, for the Padres after what happened last year, for a number of reasons. First of all, you got a short spring. You're heading to Korea in a matter of weeks, about 4 weeks. Yeah. You're getting on a plane and heading to Korea. So you've got a compressed time frame. So everything that you do in your preparation for the season is going to have to be done with a little more purpose, a little more urgency to get ready for the season. And then after the year they had last year, in which it felt like they could not muster that urgency early in the season, it kept waiting for their talent to take over, I doubt that we're going to see a similar scenario where you hear a lot of people saying, hey, just wait, back to the baseball card, everything's going to be fine.
So wait.
That's not going to fly this year.
Dude, a couple weeks ago, you came in here and you never told this on the air. You just told us off the air. You heard an interview with Nick Martinez on MLB Network Radio, and it was so good, and I was like, oh, we got to tell this on the air. We totally forgot to do it, and it kind of explains a little bit, at least from his perspective, a guy that was there the entire season, what exactly happened with the Padres.
Well, I thought it was interesting because it's Nick now with the Cincinnati Reds, and he sat down for an hour with those MLB Network Radio guys, and he really has nothing to cover up or hide. No. He's not coming back to the Padres now, so you can be a little more honest in your assessment of what happened. And the first takeaway I got is he was very adamant. Everyone thought we had clubhouse issues. He said, no, we had a great clubhouse. We had fun. We were together. We did things off the field. The whole team, when we were in Miami, they all came to my dad's house. He made his famous paella. We had team bonding. We were together. It was a really good clubhouse. That wasn't it. It wasn't off the field issues that sunk the Padres last year. He felt like early in the season, they kept... the message was, let's not panic.
Yeah, that's it.
We're going to be okay. We got a bunch of good players. The last thing we want to do is panic here early in the season and make a bunch of big changes and start worrying and then get ourselves off our plan and our rails. So for the first few months of the season, it was like, we're not going to let the standings or our win-loss record right now dictate what we know is the right thing to do. We're a good team. We're going to stay the course. We're not going to panic.
Ball's not bouncing our way.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're losing those close ones. Okay,
so they
no
refused
worries.
to do anything to change the urgency of the team. And then, of course, as the season started slipping away and it was July and August, they go,
oh, God,
we got to crank this thing up 11 notches and we got to get going and hit the gas. And at that point, it went from don't panic to we are all pressing. We are pressing every single game, and we're not giving our best performance because we are pressing constantly. So they went from not enough urgency to too much urgency on the flip of a dime, and were never able to lock in where they needed to do in the correct middle zone of the season, playing with some urgency, but also not panicking about every little thing that goes wrong over the course of a year.
And that is such an interesting thing when you think about the entirety of a baseball season, just how long it is. And yeah, man, you can get off to a slow start and blah 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 blah. But I did like what he said. I did like what he said about the fact that they were together, because there was a lot of questions like, do these guys care? Do they like each other? Blah blah blah. Apparently they did. And I think we've heard from more than one person that the clubhouse was fine last year. But boy, the rumors start getting out last season of this guy, and these guys don't get along, and this guy will only hit here, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it was a bad look. It was a bad look for most of the season.
So Joe Musgrove was one of the guys who spoke yesterday, and he kind of addressed a little bit about that issue of last season versus this season and what identity he'd like to see the 2024 Padres take.
Yeah, I think we need to do a better job of, identifying what our identity is as a team. From the get-go of spring training, I felt like we had expectations of what we expected of ourselves as a group, and it wasn't talked, openly and out loud enough for everybody to understand what that was. So we found ourselves in a little bit of a hole early on, and trying to find your identity when your back's against the wall is a little difficult. So I think we need to set the tone, early on in spring training and figure out what those things are that we're going to, what the standards are here, and make sure everyone's on the same page.
Because if you were going to ask us or a lot of Padres fans out there that follow the team pretty closely, what is the identity of this team? I don't know what I would have said. I would have said, hey, man, when the going gets tough, these guys fold. That was the identity it looked like. When we were down, and it wasn't the identity that it looked like. It was what they said. It was Xander Bogaerts saying, when we get down a run, my shoulders slump and I want to dig a hole, something to that effect. That's not the identity you want to have. Hey, we're quitters. We quit. And when we get down, we realize the game's over. I like what Joe had to say yesterday. I hope it's implemented. I feel like it will be.
And I think identity is sometimes crafted by the media, which I don't know that does a team much good, but hey, this team has stolen a bunch of bases at the start of the season. They're the running team. They're going to be aggressive all year, and it's not always necessarily the strategy. We saw the Padres flip on a dime. They didn't steal much early. They started stealing more. I don't know that it changed their identity much, so identity can be a good thing, but mostly I think what Joe was saying was similar to what Nick was trying to indicate, and that was, trying to find it when you are then pressing and in a hole is the worst situation.
Correct.
And that's what they ended up doing last year, that they were trying to create some sort of, momentum later in the season, and they were never able to get it going. Because they got off to such a slow start. We need a contestant for Take on Woods. We're about a minute away, and the phone lines are wide open. If you want to try to qualify, head to that town where they just had the big game yesterday. Trip for 2 to Vegas at 833-288-0973. We'll play our musical trivia game with Woodsy here in a minute. Give us a call, 833-288-0973.
I wonder if you're looking at what I just
I'm looking at
told.
what I've been getting.
4 people have told us.
About 15 people have said.
Would you say this is a teaser, a possible precursor to some breaking news?
Either that or you're just reliving some glory days. One of the two. I mean, posting a bunch of girls I went out with in college on my Instagram. It's going to lead my wife to think something's up. Jerks and Profar, as of an hour ago, Benny, has posted on his Instagram about how long can you post a story? Like 2 minutes or something?
I don't know, a minute.
Oh, boy. So
nothing but Padres highlights.
Nothing but Padres highlights.
Nothing from the Rockies last year.
Not one damn thing. And then it says, job's not done.
Nothing from the Rangers several years ago.
No. It just says, job's not done. So that leads me to speculate and leads everybody to speculate that Jerks and Profar will be a San Diego Padre before the day's end.
Is
that a jump?
Like we've all just
leap?
assumed the entire offseason that move was eventually coming.
Right.
All right, that is a pretty clear indication. That I think Jerks and Profar is likely on his way. I mean, no one has sent us any official emails, but that would be a weird statement to make and a weird Instagram story to post if you were
very straight.
And I'd like to announce I am signing with the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Here's
Job's not done.
Here's all my best highlights from the Mikey show. Job's not done. What are we doing, right?
All right. Well, let's wait for the Jerks and Profar news incoming while we play a little game of Take on Woods. Oh, I see a familiar-looking name here on the list. Caller, identify yourself, please.
What's up, guys? Big time fan of your show here. My name's Chris.
Chris.
How are you doing?
All right, Chris, you want to play Take on Woods?
Yes, absolutely.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
Here's how it works, Chris. You will get 60 seconds to answer as many of the 5 musical trivia questions as you can. Woods will come back in, and if you beat or tie him, you'll qualify for our grand prize drawing getaway to Vegas 2 nights to the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino, and tickets to Air Supply performing May 31st and June 1st at the International Theater. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Take on Woods is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. We'll give you the advantage here, Chris, by letting you pick the category. We've got add a zero, which is each answer, you will add a 0 to get the next answer in the list. You'll see how it works if you pick it. Hook, line, and sinker, the word hook appearing in each of those answers. And our new category, in and out, they've got 5 different bands that include either in or out in their name. So, Chris, what would you like to play?
Ooh, let's go with In and Out.
In and Out. All right. Today we have 5 different bands that all either include the word in or out somewhere in their names. We'll have 60 seconds. First questions are 2-second song. You need to give the song title and the artist to the little clip that Paulie plays to score that point. So make sure you give both, Chris, to get that one, and then we'll go on from there. Pass if you don't know one. We'll come back to it if there's time left on the end of the clock. Are you ready, Chris?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music in the category in and out. Good luck. Let's take on Woods.
Josie's on a vacation far away.
That artist name is The Outfield. The song is Don't Want to Lose Your Love.
Your Love, correct. Miss Jackson and Hey Ya are 2 of the top hits for which Atlanta hip-hop duo?
Outkast.
Correct. Lane Staley and Jerry Cantrell sing the distinctive vocals for which Seattle band that combines grunge and heavy metal sounds?
Pass.
Name the Chicago band that burst into superstardom in 2005 thanks to their hits Sugar We're Going Down and Dance Dance.
Fall Out Boy.
Correct. Which 1980s synth pop band is best known for their 1987 hit The Promise?
Pass.
Lane Staley and Jerry Cantrell sing the distinctive vocals for which Seattle band that combines grunge and heavy metal sounds?
Don't know this, so I'm going to guess Soundgarden.
Incorrect. Which 1980s synth pop band is best known for their 1987 hit The Promise? All right, you did get 3. That's not bad, Chris. Hang on the line. We'll see if that's good enough to at least maybe get a tie. You got Your Love by the Outfield and Outkast. You got Fall Out Boy. You got all the outs. You missed the ins. Alice in Chains and When in Rome were the other 2 answers. Let's bring Woods back in. I think I'm betting on Woods here, but we'll see. Chris's score is locked in. Reset the questions. Woods does not get the category. Makes it tougher. 60 seconds on the clock. Woods, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on Chris.
Josie's on a vacation far away.
I'll come back to it.
Ms. Jackson and Hey Ya are two of the top hits for which Atlanta
Outcast.
Correct. Lane Staley and Jerry Cantrell sing the distinctive vocals for which Seattle band that combines.
Alice in Chains.
Correct. Name the Chicago band that burst into superstardom in 2005 thanks to their hits Sugar We're Going Down and Dance Dance.
Fall Out Boy.
Correct. Which 1980s synth pop band is best known for their 1987 hit The Promise?
Oh, that's When in Rome.
Go back to our 2-second song.
It's the Outfield.
Correct.
What's the name of the song? Oh, Your Love.
Correct. 5 for 5 and a 5-3 win for
panicked.
Woods today.
When I heard, I go, no,
Tricky category for you.
What was it?
It is in and out. Bands that have either in or out in the title. Outfield, Outcast, Alice in Chains, Fall Out Boy, and When in Rome.
You are a trickster.
Trickster, but not tricky enough to get you
It's true.
on a Monday. Chris, thank you for playing. We'll have another game tomorrow, see if we can qualify someone for a trip to Las Vegas.
I love The Promise so much.
It's such
What
a good song.
Oh.
It is a good one, too. All right, Don't Do This is coming up next. It's going to be a chance to jump into what happened opposite of the Super Bowl yesterday in the final round of the WM Phoenix Open, where the biggest party in golf got a little out of control, and some of the golfers got a little...
A little bitchy.
Yeah, okay, that's the word. That's the word for it, for sure.
You get a little upset?
And you had a local going for his first win in over a decade.
God, he was so close.
So close.
So close.
All of that coming up next with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan after a check of traffic. Spring training is underway. For the latest Padres news, try and listen to our chapters features from the show. Each day, each topic we cover is broken out so that you can find what matters most to you. To get started, download the Odyssey app. And by the way, Sammy Spring Training will be with us in our next segment, so do not go
Let's go
anywhere.
So good.
I will start Don't Do This today with a baseball story from over the weekend. I think on Friday or Saturday, Major League Baseball announcing that former Mets general manager Billy Epler, who is no longer with the team, doesn't have a job, but even if he was, he'd be suspended through the 2024 season due to fabricating injuries to open roster spots for the New York Mets in 2023. It's a practice that kind of wink, wink, nod, nod. I think most, at least fans, think goes on around Major League Baseball. You've got...
Well, and players do too. There were plenty of... when this story came out on Friday, Benny, there were plenty of... Somebody was pulling all these old interviews of players that were saying things like, so what are you going to do? Oh, you're going to put me on the Phantom IL? I'm not going on the Phantom IL. I'm not hurt. I'm ready to play.
Well, most players are fine with it. It's a victimless crime.
It's victimless.
So here's your choice. We can either send you down to the minors, release you, or you can pretend to have an injury and stay with the big club and keep getting your full salary and be with the guys in the dugout and, travel on the team plane. And when faced with that option, most players will go, yeah, you know what? Now that I come to think about it, my elbow is feeling a little bit sore. Because I don't want to go back to the minors. I don't want to get released, and they don't really want to release you. So they manipulate their active roster by putting guys on the injured list that aren't really injured. It's not a surprise that this goes on. But the Mets, after an investigation, it was determined that up to a dozen players had been basically asked to, fake an injury so that the Mets could expand their rosters and bring up different players without having to cut other guys. Roster manipulation, essentially. It's a competitive advantage. It is cheating, and the Mets were punished for it, but just Billy Epler was punished, which is kind of interesting.
I'll tell you, if you want to go full conspiracy theory, you suspend a guy for a year doesn't even have a job as a nice little warning shot to all of the other active GMs that are currently working, saying, we now know, and we've always known, here's your scapegoat. Is he wearing it for the entirety
pretty much.
Of
No
baseball?
Mets medical or athletic training personnel were mentioned at all in the investigation, but they couldn't have carried this out without at least a few people being involved. Like, you can't just put a guy on the injured list and the trainer goes, yeah, hey, what's wrong with you? And someone knows they're not hurt down there, and they weren't reporting it, at least to Major League Baseball. Now, you expect, lower-level employees to be snitching on their team? No, of course not. So, maybe it's right to not punish the lower-level guys for what their bosses are telling them to do. You kind of have to do what the GM says.
Former Met pitcher Tommy Hunter said, it's crazy. Billy got singled out. It's kind of mind-blowing. I had multiple back issues, and no one from MLB talked to me. I don't know what their strategy was. It's no secret what goes on with the Phantom IL. So to go after one person seems unfair. I feel bad for Billy. He didn't do anything different than any other GM I've been around. This to me reeks of, we know what you're up to. We're going to be crawling a little deeper with the microscope next time. Let's go ahead and suspend a guy that's already out of baseball for a year. He wasn't going to work anyway. Right?
Yeah.
And so now, if I'm AJ Preller, if I'm any other GM, I'm like, I gotta watch my P's and Q's here. They're looking.
That's the point.
A little harder.
That's the point.
At this. I will go to Phoenix, the land of the Waste Management Open. Was interested to see a lot of the videos going around on the weekend. I mean, I've gotten drunk before. I've blacked out before. But oh my God, I've never seen some of the stuff I saw out at the Waste Management Open.
Chaos.
There was one guy walking. And it's just said gravity never loses. He was walking down a sidewalk, and he's leaning, and he hits the downslope, and he goes all the way down to the concrete river, and he's just done. There are guys passed out in their chairs.
Did you see the videos of when they open the gates at 7 a.m.? It's like the running of the bulls at Pamplona because they don't have reserved seats in that stadium 16th hole. So
they want to get to 16.
They open it up and everyone just sprints it's like 1,000 yards to get to that stadium hole. And it's chaos. Guys have been waiting in line they wait in line all night long. They show up at 1 a.m. to get in line.
Yeah, drinking the whole time.
Drinking the whole time so they can get there at 7 a.m. so they can sit and drink all day long to cheer for the golfers as they come through until sunset.
Gives me anxiety.
So you can imagine that the behavior can get a little off the rails at this golf tournament.
At one point, and I don't think this is a good look for Zach Johnson, but I get it. I get it. He had just
losing Ryder Cup captain Zach Johnson.
He just hit his breaking point. I guess he was getting worn out all day, and apparently some guy did yell in the middle of his backswing. Ben did that to me recently. I wanted to kill him, so I can relate.
I didn't yell. I just did a recounting of my own game.
Of your own shot to no one other than yourself. You could have done it internal. It was an internal monologue, but you did an external monologue. Boy, if I had just hit it another 2 feet, son of a... So Zach Johnson, after it happens, goes over to the crowd and kind of acts like a little baby.
Oh, don't sir me. Somebody said it. I'm just sick of it. Just shut up.
Grow up. Number one.
Billy Horschel followed behind him. Now, I'm not scared of Zach Johnson. I'm terrified
He's
of
a
Billy.
little
Billy Horschel would have scared me into getting in my car and going home. He's terrifying. And he's
Sir, calm down. Don't sir me. Don't sir me.
I'm sick of it. We got to save that I'm sick of it clip because it's so good.
The Beef says he heard that golf tournament is like Coachella for 30-year-old dudes. Isn't Coachella for 30-year-old dudes?
That's
now?
true. Yeah, that's true. Same thing.
Just dudes being bros, though. Out at a golf event.
Dudes being the biggest bros you'll ever see.
So Zach Johnson and the rowdy fans were the don't do this. I'm going to give the do this to the golf, actually, despite all the craziness, was fantastic down the stretch, and I don't think anyone really watched because
I was flipping back and forth.
Because of the rain delays. It's supposed to end before the Super Bowl starts, but unfortunately they had to keep playing a couple of hours into the Super Bowl, and San Diego's own Charlie Hoffman, who has not really... He's not won in over a decade. Hasn't even come close in many years, but he's still on the PGA Tour. 47 years old. I played junior golf with him growing up. He played.
Did you ever beat him?
No, not even close.
Kicked your ass.
He was playing great. Eagled 13, came down the stretch, got to 21 under, had a 3-shot lead, and then finished like I think was smart, was conservative, made pars in the last 3 holes to protect his lead. Did everything right. Except he didn't account for Nick Taylor, who at 18 under birdied 15, birdied 16, parred 17, and then needed to birdie 18, tough hole to force a playoff. Did it.
Yep.
They went back to the playoff. Charlie birdied it, but Nick birdied it as well. And then they had to play it again, and for the 3rd straight time, Nick Taylor birdied the 18th hole.
Unreal.
So he birdied basically 5 out of the last 6 holes he played, including the same hole 3 times in a row. Charlie finally made a par. I mean... There's nothing wrong with that. He did not make any big mistakes, but Nick Taylor playing his butt off beats Charlie Hoffman, who still has his best tournament in a long time, gets the 2nd place check. The win would have been nice, though. That would have given him an exemption, essentially, until he got to the Champions Tour at age 50 with the win for 2 more years after this year. So, bummer for Charlie. He played great, though, and he's sponsored by Waste Management, WM. So he had the entire sponsors and everyone was kind of pulling for him as the WM guy at the WM Open with some great golf while most of us were watching the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I was watching a little bit, and it was awesome, man. It was good to see him turn the clock back a little bit. But, hey, 2nd place, that is not bad. He did not really do anything to lose that golf tournament, so he didn't fall apart or anything like that. It was pretty cool to see.
All right, waiting for that Jerks and Profar news to drop. I just got an email from the Padres. They have signed Mon Laferte. Oh, no, wait, that's a concert that's coming. Have you ever heard of Mon Laferte? Paulie, you're younger.
No.
Her Auto Poetica tour is coming to Petco Park.
Pull a little up. I'd like to hear some Mon Laferte.
Mon Laferte. Not an outfielder, apparently. Gallagher Square, Petco Park, May 26th. For all you Mon fans out there, Mon is coming.
Mon Laferte is a Chilean and Mexican musician, singer, composer, and painter. So it's
actually after the Padres-Yankees game
nice.
That day, but a separate ticket is required to go to the concert, just so you know.
All right.
They go on sale Wednesday.
There we go.
This week. Sammy Spring Training will join us when we come back here on 97.3 The Fan. Don't Do This is brought to you by the Craft Taco in Sorrento Valley. Craft Taco has some of the best quality tacos in all of San Diego. Go to thecrafttaco.com. Take a look at their happy hour specials today. The Craft Taco.
We already did Don't Do This.
Yeah, I was just wrapping up Don't Do This.
Oh, all right.
That was just what we were talking about.
That's right. You're right. Right again.
Just continuing on my stream of consciousness.
Correct.
The show doesn't stop just because we go to break.
Correct.
We keep going.
Continue.
You just don't get to hear that part.
Right.
And we continue to talk during the break.
That's right.
And I was just wrapping it up there.
Not all the Don't Do This is we didn't get to.
We do have to move along, though, because we have standing by in Peoria, Arizona, ready to join us next, none other than Sammy Spring Training after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Just a couple things to let you know about. 2-vehicle accident on southbound 15 right at the South 805. One vehicle is partially in the fast lane. And we still have this accident involving a motorcycle westbound 94 at Steel Canyon. It's got the right lane blocked. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And Sammy Spring Training joins us now live from Padres Spring Training, presented by your San Diego County Toyota Dealers Association. We make it easy. Sammy, was it easy getting over? I saw you took the long route to Peoria on Saturday.
Yeah, I took a little detour down to Calexico, so I got off at El Centro and then went right and looked up on my phone a taco shop. Only about 15 minutes to Calexico. Enjoyed my birria tacos. If you saw on my Instagram, Twitter, whatever, juicy tacos. I mean, sauce just squirting out the other side of the bite. I mean, it was crazy. So delicious tacos. Got back. Now, you were right. I heard the conversation earlier. You were right. I took the road to the south of I-8.
Less travel.
For about 20, 25 miles until I got to about Yuma and then back onto the interstate. So a little bit of a detour, but well worth it. Where else did I stop? I stopped at Cafe Adesso, which was very, very nice. Had a delicious beverage there. And then continued on the journey. Took a little bit longer than if I just went straight through. But I like that drive. It's pretty. You got mountains, you got desert, you got some greenery, you've got sand. So I enjoyed it.
It's well, listen, and if you heard the early part of the show, number one, kudos and commendations for knocking the content part out of the park. I will say, you want to next time you want to under-promise and over-deliver instead of just over-deliver on day one, because you've really set a precedent now for not only you but us. When we go out there, I'm like, well, I have to do 45 posts a day because that's what Adam's used to.
So you don't want me to follow the Sam Levitt way. You want me to follow the Woods way.
That's what he's saying. Yes.
Look, a win for you is a win for us. What I'm telling you is today, if you post 9 tweets or whatever, Adam's going to be like, hey, what happened? Did your phone die? Like, you're dead.
So it's interesting because I was listening earlier and I recall the conversation. I think it was before the holidays, you guys discussing, trying to figure out things that Adam Klug likes. And there are some things we know. He loves his family, loves his children, loves the Georgia Bulldogs,
the Falcons,
certainly. But that all may pale in comparison to Adam Klug's love for a viral 97.3 The Fan piece of social media.
Sammy,
because he was so excited.
Oh my God.
Was he just texting you like updates every 10 minutes?
You guys,
now look how many views it's gotten.
You guys
think he gets $1 for every person who sees a tweet from 97.3 The Fan.
His ideas over the last, how long we been here? 5 years?
5 years.
His ideas for viral content, and I go, Adam, you got to let the game come to you, right? You can't go out expecting to make a viral video. You just shoot what you can and you hope for the best. And oh my God, last night, middle of Super Bowl, he's texting us the number circled. Like, I don't know that he slept last night, Sammy, because of your tweet that's now over how many?
Yeah.
Over 2 million views on that's just Twitter.
Yeah, it's over 2 million. We had a lot of good content yesterday. I will tell you, I tried to really hit the ground running with the video.
No, it was amazing.
Clubhouse was closed yesterday, so we had some guys come out like Joe Musgrove and Michael King, Mike Schultz, Wusako, Yuki Matsui, who
that was amazing.
Had the moment of the day. I mean, that was so terrific. It was, we were just to set the scene because I know everybody saw this video now. we were told as he's walking up with a translator that he has an opening statement prepared. And, we all said, okay. And he gets up there and he delivers that. And it was awesome. I know some of the Japanese media that was there, they were super, super impressed by it. We were all impressed by it. So that, to be honest, that was like the talk around camp for a couple of hours on day one, what Yuki Matsui did with the statement in English and Spanish. But a lot of fun on day one, no doubt about it. Good to see those guys out there. Good to see most of the guys, really healthy sounding and positive sounding. So a lot of good stuff. And, I tried to get as much as I can. But I'm with you, Woodsy. A very high bar set on day one.
Said it yourself. You said it for yourself. I have no sympathy for you because you did this, man. You did this yourself.
That's okay. That's what I'm here for.
We're talking to Sammy Spring Training, Sammy Levitt out there live. And, it is. It's a great day to be a baseball fan when the guys are out there and they're running and they're throwing a little bit. I noticed you caught a couple of bullpens. You didn't actually catch them. You watched them. Now, if you caught bullpens, that would be some content I'd be all over.
GoPro on his forehead.
Okay, let's just go fastballs here. Who impressed you out there that, maybe like the Woo-Suk goes? I did see a little clip from him, but you got to see these up close and personal.
Yeah, a lot of guys threw. Michael King looked really good. Joe Musgrove, I thought, looked really good and says he's feeling really good, which obviously with the way his season ended last year is really good to hear and really important. We saw some of the relievers. Eniel De Los Santos threw. He looked good. Alec Jacob, from what we hear, is healthy. And if he's behind, is just a hair behind. That's what Mike Schultz said yesterday, and he threw, and I was really impressed by him because he has that different arm slot and certainly could present a different look out of the bullpen should he be on this team at some point in 2024. So certainly King impressed me a lot. Musgrove looked good, looked healthy. And some of those relievers, too. Everybody didn't throw yesterday. We didn't see Yu Darvish. Didn't see some of the relievers. Didn't see a guy like, just off the top of my head, Tom Cosgrove throw. So we'll see who's on the schedule today. I'm sure a lot of those guys who didn't throw yesterday will throw bullpens today. But everybody looks really good. With that said, I think, when guys are throwing in the bullpen first day of spring training, you're impressed by everybody.
Yes.
And when you're that close to those guys throwing, you guys know this being at spring training, you're like, how does anybody ever hit this? And I'll tell you this, too. Luis Campusano was here, and, I thought, just observations during Joe Musgrove's bullpen session as he was catching him, really vocal with the feedback. And it's so cool to see Ruben Niebla work with these guys. And Ruben is incredibly involved. And I'm not sure if you played this earlier as part of Michael King's comments, but I asked Michael King about working with Ruben Niebla, and he was just speaking already glowingly about working with Ruben, and he said that Corey Kluber, essentially told him that he wouldn't have two Cy Youngs without Ruben Niebla.
Wow.
So guys are really excited to work with him, and everybody, looked good, and there's a lot of good health right now around the complex, so that's all really good news.
Sammy, I've been to many spring trainings. You've been to the last few. I've never remembered the first day being such a work day. Usually it's just kind of get in, little business, get out. And I heard Mike Schilt talk a little bit about it, the urgency and the way he's setting up camp. In fact, this isn't even really the start of spring training for a lot of the pitchers, that there was a camp at Petco Park a couple of weeks ago. We saw some shots of that. Yeah. What did you kind of learn about how Mike Schilt is setting up this spring and how it might be different than what we saw the last few years?
Yeah, I think there is going to be a balance between there being a sense of urgency because you, number one, leave for Korea on March 13th and then have two games that count a week later, so that presents an interesting challenge. But I also think they want to make sure that they don't do anything too quickly, acknowledging that they have two games, but then you've got 160 to play after that. So you don't want to do anything that would affect the other 160 based on getting ready for the two. So what we do know is guys like Joe Musgrove, Yu Darvish, they will speed up their progression a little bit earlier in spring training. Some of the pitching side of things, it's going to be sped up a little bit, considering they have those two games in Korea. But I do think there's clearly a balance they're trying to strike between both physically and mentally getting ready for the Korea trip, but also acknowledging that you don't have another game until March 28th. And my goodness, there's a lot between those Korea games and March 28th, obviously, between the exhibition games and Fan Fest and all of that. So, it's definitely going to be a quicker ramp up. It sounds like on the pitching side. I also think just from a mental standpoint, I thought what was interesting, and Joe Musgrove talked about it yesterday, Mike Schilt talked about it yesterday, about wanting to find that identity earlier in spring training. You know, I asked Joe, considering last season and some of the new faces, you know, around the team, you know, what does he hope this team's mentality is, even in spring training? And he talked about wanting to find that identity earlier. He talked about wanting to be vocal about that as a group, talk about those things as a group, you know, whereas maybe last year it wasn't talked about in that kind of way. So, look, it's obviously an interesting spring training physically because of that quicker ramp up, especially on the pitching side. But look, coming off last year and, you know, and the new faces, and who knows what other faces may show up in the clubhouse over the next few weeks. Certainly that's a possibility. You know, I think it's obviously a different spring training. So I know that was a long answer on you know, how it may be affected by the trip to Korea, but I do think it'll have an impact. But I think they're trying to balance it having an impact in a proper way with making sure they're ready for the full year.
Well, number one, Sammy, we love long answers on Ben and Woods. Just so you know, it's actually appreciated here on the program. Talking to Sammy, spring training out live from Peoria right now. What's on the schedule today, my friend? You haven't seen it yet, but what you're just going to go do more of the same, hang out around the backfield?
Could Jerks and Profar be showing up today?
Jerks and Profar looks like a rumor. Oh, you know what I wanted to ask you? Our beloved Ha-Seong Kim out there looking very, very, very fit yesterday in the sleeveless shirt. Position player wise, is he the only one other than, you know, the catchers as well? But is Ha-Seong Kim the only position player?
So we'll learn more about that today. Like I said, the clubhouse wasn't open yesterday. It is open today. It's a pretty late start today, which makes sense because not everybody's here yet and there's less to do. But clubhouse is open, so I'll certainly see more guys today than I saw yesterday. The only position player I saw yesterday was Ha-Seong Kim, who was watching the bullpens and looked great, and you know, it was great to see him, obviously. And by the way, speaking of social media, anytime you put anything of Ha-Seong Kim on social media, the Padres fans love it. So that's like a little cheat code on social media. He was the only non-pitcher catcher that I can think of that I saw yesterday. I saw Matthew Batten, actually. So
okay,
that's two.
Well, there you go. There's two. Guy wants to be seen out there.
Yeah. The other thing I'll say, just not relating to the position players, is, you know, I watched the catchers take batting practice. Luis Camposano looked good. You know, was working on going to right field. And then I saw Ethan Salas, who I have to ask him about it or confirm this. He looks bigger and taller to me, which is not all that surprising considering he's a teenager. So it would make all the sense in the world that he would grow a little bit since the last time we saw him. But I'll tell you what, just watching him in a first day of spring training BP, that swing is smooth.
Good.
Really, really smooth.
You need him
and
big.
He looked bigger to me. So I'll get confirmation on that at some point, but good to see him. And I saw him talking with Kyle Higashioka, which I thought was a cool moment. You've got this veteran, you know, catcher that's been brought in with this 17-year-old who's, you know, one of the top prospects in the game. So, Kim Batten is who I saw. And just, again, day one, good to see everybody out there working out and the good health and all of it.
And everyone was there other than Wandy Peralta, who is getting his visa because he just officially signed, and that takes a few days. And then Luis Patino, they said should be here shortly. He had to get his visa, but he's got it now, so he should be arriving in camp really quickly.
Yeah, and Robert Suarez was in transit yesterday, so I'm interested to see if we see him today. But yeah, I mean, everybody for the most part that you would expect to be there was there. So as far as today, Mike Schilt will speak. We'll see, you know, who else we talk to in the clubhouse. I'm sure we'll talk to a number of guys. And then I would assume, without seeing the schedule for today, that it's going to be pretty similar to yesterday with the bullpens and some hitting and some light work. And it'll probably be that way until we have the full report date and really get into things.
And what's the full report date? Ooh, he's thinking. Look at that thinking pose that Sammy Levitt has.
I don't even remember.
It's got to be soon. There's a game in 10 days.
Yeah,
the 27th.
I would
10 days
it's in a
from
few
now.
days.
So
I do not remember.
I've got to think it's probably like Thursday or Friday. We're getting close.
Yeah, and normally guys start trickling in, kind of one by one on different days. Like, would I be shocked to see 5 more position players
Friday.
in there in the next? Yeah, would I be shocked to see 5 more position players in there today or tomorrow? No. Guys kind of get there whenever they want to get there if they're there early on the position player side. But it's good stuff. It's enjoyable. It is interesting because I think there are still so many question marks about center and left and DH and all of that and all the things that could happen just bringing in players over the course of the next couple of weeks. But right now, who's there is there, and good to see those guys, and certainly for the young players, a good opportunity.
Paul said we should give Sammy a homework assignment like we did every single day last year. Wood said, let's wait until everybody's there so he doesn't have to worry about it. But if you really wanted to, get extra credit.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm curious to hear from Luis Campusano. Yeah, I know catchers are there, and he's going to be expected to take on a much bigger role this season. As basically he's been handed the starting job.
He's the guy.
He's the catcher for the San Diego Padres. That's a different mentality. So, Sammy, we will hopefully talk to you tomorrow, maybe with some Luis Campusano sound.
All right, sounds good. And luckily, I figured out the coffee machine in the Airbnb.
Excellent. Looks like a nice one.
But I'm ready to go.
Sammy, do less today. Do less.
Sam Levitt, and we thank you. Thank the
Thank
San Diego County Toyota Dealers Association for making Sammy's appearances possible all spring long until they leave for Korea. All right, we are done with 2 hours. Come back. Hour number 3 of Ben and Woods will reset the show. More Padres content and Super Bowl ahead here on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we are halfway home on Ben and Woods this morning. Day is just cruising by so far. Hopefully the next two go as quickly as the first two did. Great to be in here with you. Beautiful day outside. Nice to drive to work today on a dry highway. And I think we can expect some good weather, at least for the rest of the week. Excited about the week ahead. Love having Sammy Spring Training check in every day. Can't get enough, man, of the Padres content. And, look forward to getting this thing going. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. And everyone had a nice Super Bowl Sunday. Got plenty of time to watch the game. It was fun, man. It was fun. It was very low key at my house, just kind of watching the game, taking care of the kids. And Hannah did not end up taking them over to Encinitas Ranch, so we were there and just doing our thing.
So on Friday, I invited you guys over for
Right.
our Super Bowl party.
Right.
And you missed a heck of a feast. I talked about it earlier, but you did get to watch the game in solitude, essentially. I mean, you had your family there,
the
but
kids there.
Yes.
Now, I felt like I enjoyed my Super Bowl party, but I missed a few of the commercials and other things while I was taking care of, helping out, restocking, whatever needed to be done. So I do want to go through at some point, maybe at 8:35, some of the other things that went along with the game, like your favorite commercials and, halftime show,
sure.
Usher. I didn't watch it. I saw some of the halftime show. I saw
This is
Turned
all
Down
feeding
for what?
into why I don't like Super Bowl parties.
Right.
You
That's
are just
exactly
but I
right.
didn't get to just sit down
validating
and
every single part of Friday's
every
show.
moment watch. But I had a great experience, though.
But I still missed a ton. I mean, I would come back, I'd look at Twitter, and oh my God, that commercial was so funny. I'm like, damn it, I missed it again. Like I missed the Michael Cera commercial entirely.
Sarah V.
Had to change a diaper or something. So, it was enjoyable. I don't really like leaving the house all that much. So it was pretty great to just be there in bed watching the game. Bo fell asleep. He'd been waiting all day for the Super Bowl. Right when we get to kickoff, I look over and he's dead asleep. 3:30, which is way past his nap time. Dead asleep. I'm like, oh God.
Did you get yourself any special food at all to eat during the game?
This is embarrassing to admit, but I had a hankering in the middle of the afternoon for some Taco Bell. So
How did you gain all the weight?
From the trough of tacos I ordered from Taco Bell. And I thought, oh my God, my kids have never had Taco Bell. And
Never?
Nope. And Bo liked it. Taylor did not like it. So it was. And then
Taylor has some taste.
Hannah got mad at me for ordering it and was like livid at me for getting it. And I'm like, this is what I want to eat. I'm a grown man. Stop micromanaging me. I'm going to get Taco Bell because I want it. And then guess who was over sniffing around the box and eating tacos profusely from it? One Hannah Nankara Woods. So I think that's why she was mad at me, because she knew she would succumb to the Taco Bell. And I get it. I can already hear, why would you get Taco Bell? I didn't want good Mexican food. I wanted Taco Bell.
It's a totally different class of food.
It's a totally different
Taco
experience.
Bell, Chipotle,
Yeah.
they're their own thing. They're
thing.
not Mexican food.
It's not Mexican food.
I can't stand when someone says,
They get mad
I
at
feel like let's get some Mexican food. How about Chipotle? No, you can
you want
feel like
Chipotle.
Chipotle.
Right.
But if you want Mexican food, that's Mexican food.
I will say this. It's still with me, the Taco Bell. It's still, I can still taste it.
As it will be.
As it will be
For
for
a
a while. So that's pretty much all we did. But yeah, it was great, man. It was a nice weekend and very low key. Didn't do a whole lot. Rode scooters around the cul-de-sac with the kids for a while. Played a little baseball. The normal relaxation that comes with a weekend. But I do feel a little recharged this morning. It's good to be back. I would like to get rid of this chest cold that I have. It's not going away. And I do have a dentist appointment this morning, which I'm setting up for a pretty gnarly week myself. But great to be here with you guys. Great to be talking some baseball. Hot stove is obviously still bubbling a little bit as far as we know. But yeah, I mean, I think the Jerks and Profar Instagram this morning certainly was something. It's something. You don't just do that just to do it. Now,
did he delete the post, or it's a story, so it just kind of automatically goes away? I heard someone say that they thought it went away.
Is it gone?
It goes away
in 24
after
hours?
you watch it.
No. You can leave
Someone
the story
watched
for 24
it.
hours.
You can leave it up, but
It's
once
still
you've
up.
watched it,
It's still up.
It's still up. Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering, but maybe the Padres said, "Hey, dude, we haven't
Take that down.
crossed the T's and dotted the I's. Don't do that."
I just
yet."
checked. It's still
there.
Okay, so the only other thing I can think of is like Was he putting out like a resume? Like, hey, watch this. Let's get some buzz going for me back to the Padres. I guess it's possible. But it certainly seemed when you put in work to be done or jobs not finished, and then apparently at the end of it, there's Don Orsillo saying, welcome back to the Padres, Jurickson Profar from last year. So that, to me, is, for reading the tea leaves, which we love to do, seems like Jurickson Profar.
If he's not coming back, it's a big bait and switch that he's pulling on us all.
If he ends up with the Orioles or something, it will be very, very strange. So, that's that.
And I don't think that Jurickson Profar. Remember, temper your expectations. He had a nice finish to the season when he came back to the Padres. Did not have a good year in Colorado before that. Was given his release. Remember, with like a month and a half left in the season. So I don't know what kind of contract you'd be looking at. I'd hope it's a fairly affordable, incentive-laden type deal for Jurickson Profar. But what he does give you is if you had to start the season, if you sign Jurickson Profar, you can put major leaguers now at every position because you could put Sugar in center, put Profar in left, Tatis in right, Cronenworth at first, Kim at second, Bogarts at short, Manny at third if he's healthy, Campusano behind the plate, and Musgrove on the mound. And, your designated hitter is probably still a backup at this point, but you can have essentially 9 major leaguers in a lineup at that point.
Tom says, if Profar's our left fielder, we're in for a long season. Yeah, I mean, look, it's better than the guy that was playing left yesterday, which was no one.
Blank.
Which is, X. So I hate that we're in that position, but that's exactly where we are.
We saw a few comments from A.J. Preller over the weekend that, the Padres continue to push that there's going to be competition in camp, that the young guys are going to be given an opportunity to show their stuff. And when we get the chance, and I assume we'll get a chance to talk to A.J. when we're out at spring training in a couple of weeks, the one question that I want to ask him the most is...
How dare you?
No.
Oh.
It's essentially, we have talked to a ton of people who are all very excited about your prospects. AJ, these are fans of yours and your farm system who have said, we think these guys are great. We look at the guys you have put in there. We're high on all of your guys. But every single one of them that we talk to says, but they're not ready yet.
Right.
And you shouldn't be forcing these guys up to the big leagues. The guys who believe in your minor league system, these aren't haters. These aren't the guys who go, I don't think the Padres system's that good. No, even Baseball America, even the guys who have you ranked 4th in all of, for all of the farm systems, they all say they don't really see any of them contributing until at least later this year. They all need more minor league seasoning. So when you're telling us that, we're believing in our guys and we want to put them in the big leagues now, potentially, what are we all missing that you're seeing? Because the experts who love your system say that's not feasible yet. You can't do that yet.
Well, so I saw Friday after we got out of here, and I didn't really engage on social media just because I didn't feel like it. I knew we'd have this week to talk about it. But Keith Law came out with his prospect rankings and had the Padres kind of down 18, I believe, was where he ranked them. I saw a lot of people get up in arms. Once I read his reasoning for it, I went, all right, I mean, if that's your criteria, then you're absolutely right. The criteria essentially was, oh, absolutely, Ethan Salas is one of the best, and this guy is really good, and Snelling is great, and Lesko's great, and blah, 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 all these guys are good. No one of these guys is close to the big leagues. So if that's your criteria, Keith Law is not wrong. I mean, that's just kind of where he's at. Like, Salas and all these guys will help in a couple of years, and those are good guys to have.
But if Keith Law is wrong or is right, then AJ is wrong.
Right.
Because they're selling that all of these guys are very close. They're knocking on the door to help with the big league team. And that is not the opinion of the experts,
consensus.
At least outside of the San Diego Padres. Now, could the experts be wrong and AJ knows something that we all don't? I hope. Honestly, I'd be disappointed if AJ didn't know a lot of things that we don't know, that Keith Law doesn't know, that Baseball America doesn't know. But no one is sitting here ripping AJ and going, he is overvaluing his prospects. They're not that good. They're not saying that. They're saying these prospects are fantastic and that none of them really belong in the big leagues as of yet. And that is worrisome for a team that at this moment still looks like they're going to rely on several prospects as being part of the Major League roster starting March 22nd or March 20th against the Dodgers in Korea. That's worrisome. So that's what I want to talk to AJ about a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And, we've talked a lot about when guys are ready and what a fine line that is. You have to thread the needle, Benny, of he's ready, he's going to play, and he's going to play well or good enough at this level, and what it can do to somebody when maybe they're not ready. There's a confidence thing that, I think certain players, Benny, you think about the course of baseball history. A lot of guys got sent down. A lot of guys figured it out in the minors, but a lot of guys you never heard from again. You know what I mean? There were always supposed to be these can't-miss prospects, and I can think of, Jurickson Profar was one. He was one that was the highest prospect in baseball. The Rangers wouldn't have traded him for 15 players. Hindsight being what it was, Jurickson Profar's had a nice career. He's made some money, but the way they had him pegged, he was Mickey Mantle. Like, he was going to be the next Mickey Mantle. Like, that was as high as you go. I think about Michael Chavis from the Red Sox, another one that, can't miss. Joe Adell from the Angels, can't miss. And now these guys are scrounging for jobs.
You say there are no sure things. I'll give you one sure thing. Who are the Padres' top 4 prospects right now? Salas, Merrill, Snelling, Lesko. Sure. Here's your can't miss guarantee. Not all of them will be successful big leaguers. Not all 4 of them.
Guarantee that
I will guarantee you.
Somebody's going to miss.
Not all 4 of those guys will come up and be successful big leaguers. At least one of them will not pan out for the San Diego Padres. And if 3 of them do and only one of them doesn't,
that's excellent.
That's a huge, huge victory for the San Diego Padres. They will take that in a heartbeat. If I could tell you that 3 of your top 4 prospects will actually come up and be productive, good big leaguers, maybe even all-star, worthy, they would take that in a heartbeat. If you could be that consistent with your top prospects, you'd be the best team every single year. Yes. No doubt about it. That would be a huge win. I promise you. At least one of those guys is not going to pan out. Probably 2, maybe 3 of them. You're just hoping that all 4 of them are not busts, essentially.
Yep. Yeah, Profar just got finished playing in the Caribbean Winter League. I didn't see how he did. I think did his team win the championship? I don't know how well he played down there.
I saw Curacao had a big win, but I didn't see the finish of the tournament if it's over.
But if we're basing, the prognostic...
Does he wait until that's over? He wants to be able to play, and he doesn't want a team to tell him that he can't play, so maybe. He doesn't sign it until it's over.
If we're but we can't base future... performance on how they played in Winter League because Tatis didn't play all that well down in the Dominican, but also didn't finish the season, played his 20 games and got out. Nothing really to worry about. But, I saw somebody tweet earlier, why are we getting excited about a negative WAR outfielder? Fine. I don't know what to tell you. They need big league players, though. They absolutely need big league players. And if Profar ends up on the roster, I'm not going to be massively disappointed.
I would also...
Unless it's for $14 million or something.
Robert Murray has just posted that free agent utility man Jurickson Profar and the San Diego Padres are in agreement on a 1-year contract, according to sources familiar with the deal.
Great.
And I would...
welcome back.
I would dispute the characterization as excited. I have assumed this was going to happen all off season.
That's true.
Honestly, I kind of counted Jurickson Profar on the team even before he was on the team in my head for a while, so this doesn't really change anything for me.
The other thing, too, guys, is you have to think about it, I guess, in a pragmatic sense. Jurickson Profar being back with the team, I don't think you look at it and go, great. Now he's going to block Jackson Merrill. It's not like... Again, Merrill may be the closest, but it's not like he's beating down the door. And
if Merrill ends up ready, whether it's out of spring training in April, May, August, whatever, when that time comes, he'll get his chance.
Here's the good news. If someone's going to struggle in left field to start the season, I'd much rather it be Jurickson Profar
100%.
than Jackson Merrill.
100%.
And that's why this is a good move for the San Diego Padres. Someone's going to be in left field.
Allegedly. It's allegedly a move.
Well, it's been reported now.
Well, all right, but
it's been reported.
That's more than just his Instagram story, but the Instagram story told it all.
All right, we will continue our Tier 1 tour. We got started last week. We're counting down. Every single day, we will look at a different Major League Baseball team, and if I've done the math right, when we get to our final team, it'll be time to start the season for the Padres and the Dodgers. We're still in the NL East. Last week, we started out with a bang. Skip Schumacher joined us from the Marlins. We talked to Casey Stern for the Mets. Today, we'll just take our
Matt Strahm from the Phillies.
Matt Strahm for the Phillies, right? We will just take our own look at the Atlanta Braves in our next segment. I don't know much needs to be said about the Braves other than they're going to be really good again.
Indeed.
We know that for sure. They've made a few moves, though. We'll take a look. Our Tier 1 tour continues with the Atlanta Braves coming up next with Ben and Woods after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Before we get to our preview of the Atlanta Braves, firing up the Tier 1 tour bus for our Tier 1 tour, the number is in on Jurickson Profar.
Is it
at
official?
least it's reported for the contract. 1 year. And after an offseason in which I have several times said to myself, that guy's getting how much?
Yep.
That guy's getting what? What? He's getting paid that for that guy?
You hate when players get paid.
I don't.
More than anything.
But this is not one of those situations because it's not true.
Like you're personally offended by their salaries.
Yes.
I want them all to be compensated very fairly. And Jurickson is being compensated quite fairly. He's going to reportedly get $1 million, which is only about $200,000 above the minimum at this point.
It's absolutely fine.
And when you looked at the numbers that he put up from the Rockies last year, 236 average, 316 on base percentage, 364 slugging. That's a 680 WAR, which is really bad, especially at Coors Field.
Reviews are mixed coming in right now on the high-speed sports wire here, a.k.a. Twitter, a.k.a. X. Beloved H.J. Preller, no relation, says, Jurickson Profar had the 22nd worst season since World War II. And I quote tweeted and said, well, there's nowhere to go but up from there.
And if you really wanna delude yourself a little bit, you can point out that at the end of the season when he joined the Padres,
they went on a long streak.
Hit 295.
Look at that.
367 on base percentage, 409 slugging, a very solid 776 OPS, a positive WRC plus.
There are no bad one-year deals, especially $1 million, especially when you have no outfield. There's no problem with this deal. None. Zero.
All right, let's turn our attention quickly to the Atlanta Braves, our next team up in our Tier 1 tour. Of course, the Atlanta Braves have been one of the better teams in baseball and will continue to be so this year. They've been fairly quiet in the offseason to make a couple of moves, including acquiring Jared Kelenic in a trade with the Seattle Mariners, who will likely slot near the bottom of a lengthening order that is already one of the deepest in all of baseball. They set all those home run records last year, and there's a chance that Kelenic could be a 20-plus homer guy for them at the bottom of their lineup as well, so adds even more power to what already is including Ronald Acuna Jr., Austin Riley, Matt Olson. They got plenty of star quality players to lead that team, as well as a strong pitching staff.
I know baseball doesn't work this way, but the way that you plot it out in your head and on paper before a season is, so it's going to be the Dodgers, Braves in the NLCS, and winner will go to the World Series. That's just kind of how, if you stack their rosters next to each other, it's really the best comp. Those two teams are pretty electric and have really, really good players. And, you look at the top of the Braves batting order, Benny, with Ronald Acuna Jr., Austin Riley, who's a stud, Matt Olson is a superstar, and then, a guy like Ozzie Albies, and then you've got Jared Kelenic at the bottom of the order with a pitching staff that's been has two of the top guys, Fried and Strider at the top. You throw in a Charlie Morton, who is seemingly ageless. You throw in Chris Sale that they're going to use as well. So it's an interesting team, one that I think expectations are World Series or bust as well.
So they'll be counting on Max Fried for a big season. He only made 13 healthy starts last year.
Going into a walk year, right?
Yeah, it's his last year. So you're gambling like a Blake Snell did last year on a big season out of Max Fried, a very motivated Max Fried looking to cash in with his his career-making deal at the end of the year. That's a guy that they're going to be counted on. They're also looking ahead. One of their top prospects is a pitcher, and his name is something that I think sounds like an AI name generator came up with it. His name is Hurston Waldrep, and he is their top pitching prospect, and they think at least at some point he could be an impact type of pitcher for them coming up at some point this season. So
he's got nasty stuff. So they're sitting pretty. It's got them projected right now, Benny, at about 95 wins. That's a lot of wins. So,
but that's conservative, I think, with projections. They've been a 100-win team consistently here, and there's no reason to think that they can't do that again.
You know, it's interesting, too, because last year going into the season, everyone was like, oh, boy, that NL East is going to be something else. And look, they had some great teams come out of the NL East last year, but the Mets not being one of them, I think it was a surprise to everyone. I don't think the Mets are really going to be in play much this year either. So Atlanta, I think they're going to run away with that division.
It's amazing, though.
Phillies are going to be good.
What one World Series title in a full season can change the narrative, because other than that year, they're essentially the Dodgers. They won the most games in baseball last year, 104, and got wiped out in the playoffs. Yep. Very Dodgers-like, but they don't really suffer from that same narrative because, well, they won one.
Yeah.
And that makes a huge difference to everybody. But essentially, they're a team that probably doesn't have to worry too much about getting to the playoffs. The regular season will take care of itself, and they, like the Dodgers, will be focused in on winning the World Series. And, you can imagine, like we did last year, that the Braves and Dodgers will be on a collision course at some point in the NLCS, but neither of them got there. Last couple of seasons, neither of them got even to the NLCS. Obviously, it was the Padres, Phillies 2 years ago. Last year, it was the Diamondbacks who got there and ended up in the World Series. So, yeah, we'll see if the Braves can go all the way through October this time. But they certainly have the players and the talent to do it, no doubt about that.
If you're a Braves fan, you're elated. You're absolutely elated watching this team and knowing also that these guys are going to be together for a while, and you can just add piecemeal what you need. They've got good catching core. They got a great first baseman, got a great third baseman. They're strong up the middle. Who's playing shortstop for them right now?
Fail.
It's not Arcia, is it? He was.
He was. Did he go somewhere?
I don't know. I don't remember. That's maybe the one spot that they could maybe improve on, if my memory serves. But yeah, I mean, good outfield. They got everything. They got a good bullpen.
Arcia's still on the roster.
Is he still on the roster?
Right.
Okay. Let Adam Klugel know.
He's the only shortstop currently listed on the 40-man roster.
Okay.
So yeah, guess he's still the guy at this point. But yeah, you're right. That's an area where if they were looking and wanted to make a trade at some point, they might be able to upgrade a little bit. Not that Arcia is a terrible player. No. He certainly hasn't been, but it's a pretty deep lineup, and it's going to be a good team again this year in Atlanta. All right, tomorrow we will continue with the NL East. We'll wrap up the NL East with the Washington Nationals.
It won't take long.
Look forward to that.
Do we need a guest?
It's one of those we don't because they're the Nationals, but at the same time we do because we don't really know anything about the Washington Nationals. Yeah. We'll figure it out by this time tomorrow. All right, when we come back, I want to talk about some of the things that go along with the Super Bowl, halftime show, commercials,
pomp and circumstance.
Anything that we liked, didn't like, you didn't like, give us a call, 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Super Bowl pomp and circumstance coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Inside the Green Room with Danny Green is a podcast that takes you beyond the scoreboard. Join three-time NBA champion Danny Green for insight on the association that you won't hear anywhere else. It's in the free Odyssey app, which I just saw was ranked the #1 sports podcast network by Triton. Thank you, Triton. Keeping Odyssey in your thoughts out there.
Appreciate it.
Just got some more details on the Jurix and Profar signing. There are some incentives as expected, up to $1.5 million in plate appearance incentive. So if he's like, the regular left fielder and in the lineup all season, he can make as much as $2.5 million at the end of the year, in addition to the $1 million base salary. I saw Robert Murray had that. So that's your Jurix and Profar deal, now officially with the San Diego Padres and reported widely around Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
All right. If you want to join us, we're going to talk about the Super Bowl as what's called the pomp and circumstance outside of the game, the halftime show, the commercials, national anthem, America the Beautiful, anything that caught your fancy. You got some observations. We'll give you our favorites, least favorites coming up. 833-288-0973. Be back after a check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Just a few problems here, guys. One of them is a stalled vehicle on eastbound 8 right at the southbound 805 connector ramp. It's kind of blocking the left lane of that transition. Also, southbound 15 at the 805. Large pothole in the left lane has caused some flat tires on some vehicles. Traveling on westbound 8 just before Rosecrans, there is a collision. Several vehicles involved in this one. It's got the slow lane blocked. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right. As I said, I had a Super Bowl party going, so I wasn't able to watch everything. But I did see, before the game.
Proving our theory.
I didn't miss a thing.
Post Malone with America the Beautiful.
Yeah,
and
great.
then Reba McEntire with the national anthem. Didn't have a problem with either one. Thought both performances were
both
solid.
We all agree they really sung those, yeah? Did they feel lip synced?
No.
Okay.
I don't know that there was any lip sync.
I don't think there was. I thought for a minute Usher might be.
They had the backtrack playing, but his mic was definitely on.
Do we care anymore? Does anyone care about it? No. Not really?
Not for that.
Okay.
If you're paying to go to a concert, that's one thing.
It's different, yes. Well,
For a halftime show.
It's like $25,000 for tickets at the Super Bowl.
Fair enough.
But you're there for the game.
Whatever coordination is required to pull off something of that magnitude, of that spectacle in a short period of time. You got the stage, the choreography, the special effects, for it all to come together. There really has to be some tracking involved.
Yeah.
In anything like that. There's no way everything can be live.
The penis stage surprised me that he had. The big circle and then
I didn't hear it described as such until now.
Two long with the head on both sides. I like, that's an interesting.
Did not notice that.
You didn't notice it? It's the first thing I noticed. Weird. I went, that's odd. That's odd. They're like, Usher, are you sure? No, you heard me. I want 2 giant dongs on either side. That's what I want to do from here on out. Oh, okay. Well, we'll make it happen for you. Also want to come out on roller skates. That's something I want to do. Are you sure you could slip and fall? No, I'm sure. I want to roller skate out. He almost biffed one time on those roller skates. I was so nervous.
That was impressive.
It was very impressive.
I was surprised just because roller skating doesn't feel like a 2024 thing to do.
It's coming back.
Roller skates were you did that in the 1950s, and then they invented roller
the 70s
or the 70s, and then they invented roller blades in the 90s, and someone did that. I haven't seen a roller blade in quite some time.
I think those are more frowned upon.
Are
roller blades kind of like if you go out on a boogie board? It's like
why would roller blades be frowned upon?
It's kind of nerdy, I think. That's just
really
that's what I kind of like sponging.
I mean, there was
paddle out
there
in
was
Cardiff
skiing,
Reef with a sponge
there
and
was
see what happens.
Skiing, and then they invented snowboarding, and that was
cool.
very cool.
And skiing became lame,
and
but
I
now
think
skiing's back.
Rollerblading was like the attempt to make roller skating seem more cool. Turning into rollerblading.
I could really never do any of it.
Neither could I.
I tried to roller skate; it was very difficult. So that was impressive.
He's still a fit gentleman,
very fit
in his 40s. Yeah. Fit and 40. How old is he? 40.
He's like 45.
45 years old. So I mean. Obviously, those 3 years are not kind to us. Once you get to 48.
You should have seen me at 45.
Bro, he's 45.
You're like, we did see you at 45.
He's been doing this for a long time. I think his first album came out in 94.
Damn, dude. Sounded good.
That's a choice. I'm not saying it's a bad
years.
choice. I think a lot of people were excited by his choice to remove his shirt. during the Super Bowl halftime show, especially a lot of the females in the audience. But can you imagine the decision-making process? I'm going to be in a stadium, with close to 80,000 people. I'm going to be on television with conservatively 100 million people watching. Do I or do I not take off my shirt? I know my thought process would be fairly simple, and it's no, I do not take off my shirt.
You have two shirts and Under Armour underneath. I get it. I would too.
He made the decision, shirtless.
It felt right for Usher. When Adam Levine took his shirt off at the Super Bowl 4 years ago, I didn't need that. That did nothing.
I didn't need it either.
I thought Usher was good.
I thought he was
really
too.
good.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's not for me. I don't know all of the song. My wife did not move from her position and sang every single word of every single song.
And who were some of the other guests?
Ludacris
made the appearance. So I knew they had reported that Alicia Keys and Lil Jon were both there for warm-ups and auditioning and all, or not auditioning, but going through all the practice. And so those were the confirmed ones. Jermaine Dupri made an appearance. Luda was the big one. He made
Lil
an appearance.
Jon.
Lil Jon, he was part of that.
I have to say, I'm not a hip-hop guy, but when Turn Down for What comes on, I can't help but just kind of bopping along. It's a good one.
Look at him.
It's probably not a great sign for Lil Jon that I like that as much as I do.
I told you last time Megan and I went to Vegas, we went to the nightclub, and Lil Jon was DJing, and he played Turn Down for What live. And you're like, this is awesome.
Lose your mind.
So
cool. I mean, it's good enough to be in the Super Bowl halftime show, and you got to see it live, DJ'd, and performed. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Who else was there? Yeah, Alicia Keys was fantastic.
She was spectacular. She always is.
Yep.
San Diegan, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. Lives in La Jolla. Got a house there.
Wow.
Look at me. Where have you been? San Diego connections.
Is that something you learned in the real estate adjacent business?
Potentially. Potentially.
Interesting.
Yeah. He's got a house in La Jolla. Spotted around La Jolla a lot. Very talented. Very, very talented human being. I enjoyed it.
I've been thoroughly entertained with the halftime show.
It's been good.
Recently.
I told you, the older I get, the more. Me 10 years ago would have been like, I would have tweeted something. Now I'm just like, man, I get it. Like, sometimes things aren't for me anymore. I didn't even tweet about the Coachella lineup this year. I'm like, I'm older.
They're not marketing to you.
Let the young kids enjoy it. Even though Usher's 45 years old, it's not really for the young kids anymore.
People like me and Hannah's age,
we loved it.
Have heard his music our entire lives.
Yep, yeah.
And so it was fun to kind of go through. I mean, when it first got announced back in the fall that he was going to do this halftime show, I went, whatever. And then I started thinking about, I'm like, nah, he's got the catalog. He's got it.
Of course he's got the catalog.
He's going to put on a good show.
Well, so that was good. I liked Post Malone and I liked Reba McEntire. I thought it was a good combo. Posty is a guy that he fascinates me to know, and I worry about him. I worry that he's, I would just worry. Like, he's a good kid. He's from my hometown, went to my high school, Post Malone did. And but he's very talented. I thought he looked cool as hell up in the...
He's a fascinating individual.
He's a fascinating guy. Him, during the pandemic, when he did all those Nirvana songs, he really sold me, and he's really talented. I think his influences are great. I don't like his music per se, but I like where his influences are, so I give him like a, hell yeah, man, every time I see him. Just be okay. I just don't get mixed up, right? He looked cool as hell up in the booth. He had his Cowboys jacket on, and that was good. Reba was fantastic. My wife loves Reba McEntire, so we watched that. The commercials,
you
man.
You could bet on the over-under for the anthem.
Yeah, and the under hit.
No, the over hit.
No, I thought they blacked out the last Brave.
Oh, did they?
I think they took out the last Brave. It was a
originally
superfluous Brave.
It hit the under, and then her second Brave put it over. It was like 90 and a half seconds.
Maybe she bet on it, on the over, and realized, I am going too fast, and got there. I know what I can do. Let's throw in one more Brave just to make sure we hit the over.
Like, if you're her son-in-law, you're like, hey, listen, I'm going to put like $100,000 down on this and just keep it short.
That's why they don't let you bet that much on the
that's
anthem.
True. That's true.
The anthem bets.
So the commercials, I thought for the most part, some were, again, not for me, didn't really care, but there were two that stood out to me that I absolutely loved. Paulie did not like this one, and I can't believe it. I thought for sure you would like.
Wasn't my favorite.
Now, I hope they're not a sponsor, but their donuts are not very good. Dunkin' Donuts, they're not.
I think you're okay.
They're fine in a pinch. They're better than if you go. They're better than if you go into Vaughn's or Stater Brothers and get a box of their donuts back in the bakery. They're better than that. but they're not VGs or Rose Donuts or anything like that. It's not even close.
Some people swear by their coffee. Other people can't stand it.
I like their coffee. It's fine.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what they're known for. Now, it's a big Northeast, specifically Boston. They live for
Donkeys.
But we have them here now. I mean,
Yeah,
there's one right next to Goat Hill Park on your way in. There's
we did
definitely
we did a
Dunkins around
remote
here.
at Dunkin' Donuts like 6 years ago.
That's right.
Yeah,
The one in
freezing
Point
cold.
Loma.
Yeah,
that
Point
was
Loma.
right out front. Hi,
Yeah.
everybody on
Here we are.
Point Loma Boulevard. We are freezing out here.
So it's fine. But I thought the commercial knocked it out of the park. J-Lo is in the studio recording a new album, and her husband, I think, they're husband and wife
I don't know
now,
if they're officially back together.
Ben Affleck, comes in with his crew, and he wants to drop a little rap for their album.
I don't think you should do this. Last year she came to my work. Now I gotta show her what I can do.
He's here.
Affleck on the track.
What up, Bronx? For your consideration, here comes the Boston Massacre.
Amazing.
The Dunk Kings.
The Dunk Kings.
Touchdown, Tommy on them keys. Play
Brady.
Got it.
I'm open. And needs no introduction, my partner.
Sometimes it's really hard to be your friend.
Matt Davis.
What me?
Dunk go away. My heart. Why you dunking me?
Dancing,
Why you
pointing.
Dunk Kings.
My heart.
How do you like them donuts? I'm so sorry.
You had to see it, but I forgive you. Lay us on the track.
Are we going to be on the album?
We talked about this.
Let's go. You're blinded by them pinstripes. There goes Babe Ruth.
Tom, you can stay.
You remember when I told you I'd do anything for you? This is anything.
Chill. They're naming a drink after us.
It's so good. It just, I love
Matt
guys.
Damon is
I love guys
makes
that
whole
can
commercial.
poke fun at themselves, and
Oh, yeah.
those guys can. I mean, it killed me. It just killed me. You're blinded by the pinstripes as he walks out, hits his head on the Dunkin' banner. I thought it was great.
definitely the most subtly funny.
It was
of,
so
of
good.
all the commercials.
Damon's just in hell. This one was, in my opinion, by far number one. Maybe my top Super Bowl commercial
This
of all
one was
time.
fantastic.
This one laid me out.
BMW had enlisted the help of Christopher Walken.
Brilliant.
And this was my favorite.
Nice ride.
It's the real deal. 100% electric.
It's the real deal.
Yeah.
Valet guy.
Thank you.
Of course. Enjoy your
Get his coffee.
Careful, it's hot.
Thanks.
Your dog's so cute.
Yeah.
Ooh, so adorable. Wow.
We both know
It's the man. Makes the clothes.
You know, you look nice.
Okay. We done?
Hello, Mr. Walken. Does this table work for you?
Murdered me.
Yeah.
Did someone say yeah?
Sure.
And then, of course, you got
Don't
to
you got
plug
someone to
Usher.
pee? Yeah.
I think this aired in the first quarter.
Oh.
There's only one Christopher Walken, and only one.
It was brilliant. Everywhere he goes. Your dog is so cute.
It was the
This table right here.
Right here.
So that was amazing. I mean, everyone loves a good Christopher Walken impression, and the takeoff is
Except
great.
for him.
I didn't remember, though. I knew it was for a car, but it could have been a VW. I didn't remember that it was for BMW. To me, I thought the most effective commercial was the Uber Eats one with Jennifer Aniston and David Schwimmer and Jelly Roll. You've got to forget something to remember that Uber Eats delivers everything, because the actual message of that commercial stuck with me when Jennifer Aniston can't remember who David Schwimmer is after working with him for 10
hate
years.
This town.
Yeah.
Jelly Roll can't remember how he got tattoos on his face and they're not coming off. I mean, but you remembered the concept of why it worked. It's because you got to forget something to remember that Uber Eats delivers anything. So I thought that was kind of the most effective and clever of the commercials.
Big one at my house was the Verizon commercial with Beyonce, where she was trying to break the internet, and she's like, did that work? Did we go viral? Did that break the internet? No. Verizon still holding strong. All right, how about this? No, Verizon still holding strong, and that was the whole point. And then right at the end, she goes, all right, drop the new music. And my wife freaked out. What did she just say? And turns out Beyonce announced a new album coming out next month, released a couple of songs. So that was effective.
A country record.
I like.
She's doing a country album, yeah.
When in doubt, just do a country record.
I enjoy when my kids don't get the reference, and I do. So when Arnold Schwarzenegger was the State Farm guy, and they brought in Danny DeVito as his twin at the end, like, wow, who are those guys? Why are they doing that? Because it was a movie when I was growing up, Twins, with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito.
This is awful parenting on your part.
That's true.
They
I should have made them watch Twins.
Bo's seen it. He's 6. This is awful parenting on your part. It's a brilliant film. It's
great.
Brilliant.
It's a great movie.
Bo doesn't understand
It's
splitting
old
of
now,
the,
though.
he doesn't.
It's a very old movie
But it's
at
still
this point.
so good. They're old. They're 21 years old. They should have seen it in their youth sometime.
What
That's
year
bad parenting.
What year did Twins come out?
God,
Twins
it was-
came out in 1988.
Yeah.
10,
We were
20,
13.
36 years ago.
It's been on Netflix for months. Kelly Preston. Tonight is your night, bro. Tonight is your night, bro.
So
remember that scene? It's the best.
They had Usher in the first half commercial with Christopher Walken. They had the Bud Light guys did the genie in the bottle.
Oh, that was good.
Made all the wishes, and then the last wish. That wish was at the Super Bowl, and of course that came straight out of the commercial
Right.
to the guys at the Super Bowl. Next level, trying to pull some stuff off. I guess that one was pretty good. That one worked.
People say Wesley says you don't go to Dunkin' for the donuts, but it's in the name, Dunkin' Donuts.
It's like you don't go to Buffalo Wild Wings for the wings.
Yeah.
You go for
Or
the
the
burger.
cheesecake.
The cheesecake.
The cheesecake.
So what do you go to Dunkin'? Is it the coffee?
Most people say it's the coffee.
So why do they call it Dunkin' Coffee? I don't know. Have you ever dunked your donut into coffee? I haven't either. Have you ever done that?
Never
Pauly?
dunk my donut into
No,
coffee.
I feel like it would just break off and like.
Well, not their
stare.
donuts because they're always stale. So those would actually work pretty good for dunking it in your coffee. I'm going to
about
try
the,
that next time.
Was there any bad, like truly awful commercials?
I mean,
thought
there was like
they-
a million Temu commercials.
Did I miss those? What are those?
There's like 6 of them. I like.
Yeah,
the
that's
Michael
like
Cera,
that's like
CeraVe.
Chinese knockoff merchandise or something. That was the one that my kids had to explain to me. What is Temu?
How about the movie trailers? We got a few of those.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Deadpool
What are we doing?
3 was announced.
Well,
That
that's
was
fine.
fine.
But
Twisters.
so what do we? Is this the new thing? So I know Wicked was a Broadway and all that, but it's based on the Wizard of Oz. So now they're remaking Wizard of Oz basically, and then the one that blew me away was Twisters. It's the same movie, but they're just going to call it Twisters instead of Twister. They're remaking the Bill Paxton film.
I've
Yeah,
already
they've
like,
been doing that for a while now.
But
I've hit the acceptance stage with this time and place of where we're at, where we've come up with all the ideas. We're just gonna reboot and rehash old ideas.
Coming up this year, Bull Durham's.
Yeah.
Will be great.
I'd watch it.
Major Leagues. They're not good, though. None of them are good. The White Men Can't Jump was horrible.
Star is Born was good.
Huh, what? What was
A Star is Born.
Oh, shoot, you're right.
So, like,
that
a
was a
movie
good-
like
good one.
Twister, I loved the original, like 96,
Of course,
97,
it was
whatever that
brilliant.
was.
It's
It
a
was
brilliant
so good.
film.
So we've obviously advanced
We're
with
out of
our
ideas.
technology. Let's see what it looks like 30
All right,
years later.
maybe that sells me the
that
technology.
particular type of movie. I can
me a
see
little
it.
bit. A little bit. But sequel's fine. You want to make a sequel? Fine. Top Gun
Dune
Maverick was
is
great.
coming out a second
No,
one. That
Dunes is what they're going to call
was
it.
an old one
Yeah.
that they're doing again.
That's
That's what they do now.
This is Benz and Woods.
They've
here
made
on-
all the movies, so now it's
Yeah,
time
they're doing
to make
Roadhouse again. Like,
all
what
the
are we
movies
doing?
again.
We got to start writing original films. I think there's a market for original films these days.
All right, we got 1 hour to go. Reindl Report. I haven't brought up the Aztecs loss. I'll tell you why. Not a bad loss for the Aztecs. Coming up next
Oh,
on
boy.
97.3
Look
The
at
Fan.
you. Now, you realize that on Friday, Benjamin, you said it's a must-win game for
Nevada.
That's right.
Still,
Not the Aztecs.
Didn't love how it went down. Let's, Paulie's got it in the Reindl Report, so why don't we just get right to it here.
Let's do it.
Start with some Aztecs in today's edition of the Reindl Report.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul. All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report.
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
On 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah.
All right.
And today's Reindl Report is brought to you by Paulie's favorite brand of dog food, the Farmer's Dog.
Love the Farmer's Dog.
I mean, your dog's favorite brand.
Yeah, not mine.
You don't eat it. Although they say it's so good.
say
It's
you
human
could.
food.
If I
You
had
could.
to eat dog food,
That
this
would
is
be
at
the
least
dog
real food.
you would eat. I get it.
Better than Dunkin' Donuts.
Maybe. All right, let's go back to Friday night. San Diego State on the road at Nevada. Both teams were 18-4 heading into that contest, and Nevada won 70-66. Watched almost the entire game. Thought that it was very sloppy on both teams, and had some money on the Aztecs, plus 2.5 points. And my God, what a bad beat that was. If you watched, it went to overtime, and there was a weird penalty, a foul called with like 0.2 seconds remaining. Game's over. Nevada won by 2, and then they called a foul, had to get everybody off the court so that the guy could go back out and shoot 2 meaningless free throws, which then pushed it over the 4 points.
That'll make Scott Van Pelt's segment, I bet, tonight, his Monday bad beats, because they could have closed it out. Had they even lost in regulation, you would have won the bet.
Yep.
They had a chance to win it in regulation. They had a chance to win it in overtime. They didn't do either, and the only way they could lose was a rebound foul that occurred with 0.2 seconds left that they thought the game was over. I mean, the cheerleaders were on the court. Everyone was like saying goodbye and sorry, and they took everyone off the court just to give Nevada free throws to cover. Let's start with I think the obvious. Aztecs should have won that game. That was a winnable game. They had many opportunities. The offensive sets at the end of regulation and overtime were not good. They didn't get good shots off. Nevada's a very good defensive team. I'll give them some credit, but you're looking for maybe something better than Darion Trammell, the shortest guy on the court, trying to hit a shot over like the tallest guy on the court. That can't be what you're looking for in that situation. Maybe a timeout would have served Dutch. I know he likes to let his players make plays, but the guy who makes the plays, Lamont Butler, in those situations, had fouled out. So he wasn't out there on the court for your key situations. Maybe you slow things down, you call a timeout, and you draw something up for your guys in that situation. I saw some people ripping Dutch and go, he doesn't know how to coach. You're crazy. He does. Maybe he could have handled that situation better at the end of the game. So that was one the Aztecs got away, and I was hoping they could win one of those road games against one of the top teams in the Mountain West. They didn't. However,
I will say, I am sick and tired. I don't know if there's some home cooking going on with the refs.
There is. We've discussed
but it feels like Jaden Ledee just gets
crushed.
Abused.
On the
Every
road.
single road game. It's really frustrating.
Yeah, I tweeted once. He got absolutely hammered on one side of the court. This is late in the game. Critical. The game was close all the way. It was ugly, but it was close. It was like within 3 points.
I thought the
better
whole game
part
that
of the
if San Diego
second
State
half.
can just get a lead and just get going, get a comfortable 4, 5, 6 point lead, they'll roll.
They finally did get like a 1 3-point lead late. That was as close as it. I mean, it was close all the way through. But there was one sequence where Ledee absolutely got hammered, and there was no call. And then they went to the other end, and what looked like a pretty clean defensive play by Ledee, and he gets whistled for. And it's like, this is what I'm talking about. These road games, the refereeing is just, they can't seem to get it right in these road Mountain West games. However, the reason why I'm not going to get too much up in arms about this loss is metrically, it didn't hurt the Aztecs. In fact, they were number 21 going into the game in the net rankings. They're now 19. They've gone up 2 spots, even with the loss. They're going up in the computer metrics, what the NCAA uses for the the selections and the seeding. So didn't hurt them at all. I will also point this out. They are now 3-6 in quad one games, which, that doesn't look great. But they haven't lost any other games all season long. They're undefeated in the rest of the games. They'll have 2 more quad one games at home this week against Colorado State and New Mexico because they're both top 30 in the net. So at the end of this week, if they can hold serve at home and they don't lose these home games, they'll have 5-6 record. That's 11 quad one games, or as many as anyone in the country has, and 5 wins will be being like 3rd or 4th most in the country in quad one wins, and no bad losses. That would be an incredibly impressive NCAA tournament resume. I mean, maybe like even 3rd or 4th seed by the time we're end of the year. If they can hold just court at home, and then if they can go steal that one at Utah State the next week, which is another quad one game, all of a sudden you'd be talking about you'd be talking about the Aztecs around 3 seed on the line. So these next 3 are really big. Got to hold serve at home and then maybe steal one on the road. But that loss actually did not hurt them very much at Nevada.
You did exactly as I asked you. You sent me several updates throughout the game, and it was really great. Now I will be honest with you, I didn't check them until later. I was having such a good time at dinner with some friends. And we went to Rare Society, which was just spectacular.
It was very unusual of you not to respond at all to my text.
For once, I had my phone in my pocket. I was enjoying the mood of the dinner. Then something happened to me. I haven't told you guys this yet. Something happened to me at a restaurant that's never happened to me before. Maybe it's never happened to anyone. Brace yourselves. Saw a naked woman in the bathroom.
Sorry, what?
In the men's room?
In the men's room.
Naked?
Yes. Naked.
All the way.
Like a live person, or was it like a picture?
Live.
Or
she was a live person.
A live?
I got up from dinner, had a couple of old fashions, walked into the restroom.
Did you hallucinate this?
Nope. Walked into the men's restroom. So if you go to Rare Society, it's actually not in the restaurant. It's outside by like where the parking structure. So I walked in and I WM. Okay, men's on my left. I opened the door, and there's a nude woman sitting on the toilet, and she was wearing a jumpsuit, so she had to take it all the way down to her ankles. And the door was unlocked, so there was no code or anything. I opened the door, and she goes, "Ah!" and covered herself. But I saw everything. And I go, "I'm so sorry," and I shut the door. And she's like, "It's my fault. I didn't lock the door." And I'm still through the door going, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry."
You're also in the men's room.
She's in the men's room.
Which is fine. Is it like a one-person bathroom?
Yes.
So really, it doesn't matter if it's men or women. If you lock the door, you're in there by yourself.
Yeah, if
but
you
she
locked
didn't
the
lock
door,
the door,
she didn't. And so I just went, whoop, oh, and then the hand over the breasts.
I mean,
nude and she's attractive-ish.
I gotta say, if I know that I have to remove all my clothes in a bathroom,
make sure.
I am gonna double check and triple check. I'm probably gonna test it, like, hey, wiggle it a little bit just to make sure this is totally locked.
So I came back to the table, and my face had gone white, right? So I put the break on pause. Like I just said, I'll just hold it. Went back, and Hannah's like, "What happened?" I said, "Well, this is what happened." And Hannah she's like, "Really? Who?" And turns around, and we go through the window. I go, "Her." And she looks over, and she's laughing. And I'm like, "It's okay. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." It's never happened to me
awkward.
before. It was awkward.
Definitely awkward.
Hannah's like, "Well, did you like what you saw?" And I said, "Yeah, I mean, I'm still a man at the end of the day, so sure, absolutely I did." But that was a new one for me. But I felt bad. Then we got onto
this is why you weren't responding to my constant Aztec text updates for the game.
Yeah, worth it. But I couldn't believe what my eyes had just seen. This is incredible.
Interesting.
But you think about those jumpsuits. I mean, you literally had to take the whole thing down just to go
it's just the functionality of it. There's no zipper.
No. There's
Even
no
then,
zipper.
it's still coming all the way
It's coming all the way down.
Do you ever use the zipper for its actual purpose?
No, because I wear the like the man panties with no hole. There's no hole. So you can't. What's the purpose?
Does anyone though?
Well, used to when I wore boxers, I did.
You didn't unbutton the pants?
No, I just use the zipper.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I've
always
ever
unbutton it.
just used the zipper.
It's an
I've
underwear
always
thing.
unbuttoned and zippered.
Even if I went commando, I could go through the zipper.
I still wouldn't probably go through the zipper.
My kids,
there's metal on the zipper.
who are learning how to go to the bathroom. Both of them still to this day, when they go stand up pee, but pants around the ankles, and I'm like, you don't have to do this.
Have you ever accidentally got it caught in the zipper?
No,
Never. Never once.
No.
Paulie?
No.
Oh, I think it's happened before. You're just not paying enough attention, and
No, I'm
just
pretty
gets a little
dialed
bit-
in. When I do that, I'm pretty dialed in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm very aware of my surroundings.
I saw something about Mary.
Yeah.
What's that bubble? How'd you get the beans above the Frank? It's the greatest scene. But yeah, it scared me to death. I didn't know this about you,
my
Ben.
gosh.
Scar tissue.
No, I mean, not like serious damage. Just like, wait, and then not like stuck or anything.
Sorry
but
about
just,
the aside there, but I had forgotten.
This is
about it.
this is good Aztecs talk.
It's great
is what
Aztecs
this
talk.
is.
Yeah, that's why I didn't read your updates. I'd seen a naked woman.
This
don't
is
get
Ben
that
and
kind
Woods
of Aztec
Aztecs
content
talk.
anywhere else.
This is how we do it.
We gotta bleed her. Yeah, exactly.
We will continue. A couple hours ago, and don't do this, we talked about the Waste Management Open. Zach Johnson, one of the golfers there, had enough of the rowdy crowd and scolded them, and that was caught on video. And I can kind of explain maybe why. I guess alcohol sales at one point throughout the event stopped, and people were upset, confused, trying to figure out what the hell was going on. So a guy went on TikTok. He was a bartender at the tournament, and he kind of explained everything from his point of view. Listen to how chaotic this got at an already crazy and raucous golf tournament, the craziest one in the whole year. Listen to the bartender who was there working.
As somebody that was bartending today when they told us to stop serving alcohol, let me tell you what we heard. So around 1:30, when we were extremely busy, we were told by our boss to stop serving alcohol. Reason being was because the Scottsdale Police Department and the Scottsdale Fire Marshal told us to stop, and they stopped letting people in because there was almost 500,000 people on the course at that one time. And the security that were supposed to be checking tickets at the gate just said, this, and started letting everybody in without checking tickets. So people were getting in for free. People were getting into VIP boxes for free where it's all you can drink. And eventually everybody in the VIP boxes was like, it, we'll just serve everybody no matter what. And so everybody's getting extremely hammered. And on top of that, the behavior was just too out of control for them to manage with 500,000 people there. So when they told us to stop serving, we just stood around and hoped that they were going to say, okay, we can serve now in like a half hour. Hopefully some people will get out. But that never happened. After standing around for over 2 hours, they eventually said, we're done. We want everybody out. So everybody that was in general admission and not in a VIP skybox, they ended up leaving because they couldn't buy food, they couldn't buy non-alcoholic drinks, and they couldn't buy alcoholic drinks. So there's really no point to be there.
So there's no. This tournament now is what it is. I don't think there's any going back from it, right?
More like the wasted management often.
Waste management, more like wasted management. Yeah. There's no going back from
And that's
this.
what it is.
Front gate
It is
security
what it
just
The
is.
said,
PGA Tour
"Come on in."
has embraced it. They don't ask people to be quiet at that tournament. You know, the signs.
They
don't-
do, but they
Yeah,
they
but
ask.
even at 16, they really just let you talk, and you make noise, and that's what that tournament is. They get crowds that are insane. I mean, 50 times the amount that other tournaments sometimes get. It's the People's Open. It's a party. It's crazy. It's good TV. It's good theater. But I mean, if you're a golfer, I know, what was it? Guys were yelling like, "Hey, we're doing our job out here."
It was Billy Horschel.
Can you not yell in my backswing at the very
Shut the
least?
F up, it's my job. I'm like, oh, God, Billy's not a guy you want to piss off. Zach Johnson, fine, but Billy Horschel is terrifying. Yeah, it's not going to change. It's going to, they can put all the restrictions and this and that on it. It's that tournament is what it is at this point. I mean, they'll find a way.
Well, the reason why it won't change is that they make a lot you
Make a ton of money. A ton. You heard
and
it.
they give a lot of money to charity, to be honest, in the Phoenix area. But you can't really put the genie back in that bottle.
No,
now.
this is
Okay, we're
what
going to do it, but we're all going to be really
calm.
well behaved and calm now. Can't go back. Can't go back.
All right. Finally, my last story here, little taco story. So, you guys remember Taco Bell used to have like the Doritos taco shells?
They still do.
Do they still
I
have
had one
those?
yesterday.
Doritos
Did have one
Locos?
yesterday.
Doritos Locos. Delicious.
I was a big fan of those. We got a new entry into the mix. the brand Old El Paso is selling taco shells that have been dusted with Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Nope.
And then what are you supposed to put in them?
Meat.
Like ice cream?
Whatever you want.
Cheese,
like Choco tacos?
Meat, cheese, and sauce.
You can put on whatever you want, but Cinnamon Toast Crunch taco shells.
You buy them at the store?
Yes, they are for sale at Walmart for $3 a box.
Okay.
You can get them on walmart.com right now, and then I think after this week,
That's
starting next month, they will be available in retailer stores.
That's not something I want to put like seasoned meat and taco sauce
Delicious.
in with
Lettuce,
a cinnamon
cheese.
See, on the box, it looks like they've got ice cream or some sort of banana split in there. That makes sense. I understand that. Which reminds me of one of my other secretly favorite Super Bowl commercials, Dr. Umstick. Drumstick.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
Dr.
Yeah,
Umstick.
Eric Andre was on the plane. He's like, can you help me? He's like, no, I can't help you. I don't know anything about the human body. He's just handing out drumsticks.
Dr. Umstick.
That was a good one. Forgot about that one. That's great.
But Choco Tacos are not a thing anymore.
All right, those things look phenomenal.
You can make your own now, Choco Tacos with these taco
The
shells.
old El Paso shells look delicious. Yeah. All right.
$3 a box, walmart.com, while supplies last. And then, next month, popping up at retailers all across the country. Cinnamon Toast Crunch taco shells.
Man, delicious. Thank you, Paulie.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And speaking of the Aztecs, when we come back, we're going to give away a pair of tickets to tomorrow night's game against Colorado State. So stay tuned. Your chance to get into Viejas Arena for you got to hold serve at home. I've been lenient on the road losses, knowing how tough this conference
Very
is.
lenient.
But that comes with a trade-off, and that means you got to hold serve at home. You got to make sure you influence those refs the other way. If you go to the game, have your chance to win some tickets to tomorrow night's game. Coming up next year with Bennett Woods after a check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan. All right, final couple segments of the day. Annie and Elston coming up at 10 o'clock this morning. Going to give away some San Diego State basketball tickets here in a moment. Speaking of college sports, another headline Paulie didn't get to. The news that Chip Kelly is leaving UCLA as their head coach to become the offensive coordinator at Ohio State.
Yeah, buddy.
After Bill O'Brien left on Friday to take the head coaching job at Boston College. I think the argument that Chip Kelly is doing something smart, even though he's taking a pay cut, I totally get that. You're going to have success immediately there. You're going to be a hot candidate in a year or two for another head coaching job somewhere. I totally get that. I don't think there's any way UCLA can sell this. It's
as a positive.
It's a complete disaster for their football program. They're going
It's a complete crap.
Yeah.
They're going to the Big Ten. Chip Kelly was going to be a Big Ten head coach, and he's saying, I'd rather be a Big Ten assistant coach at a different school than be a Big Ten head coach at UCLA, is an incredible indictment of the UCLA football program.
Or, yeah, you're right. I mean, but also...
And the system and
it's
everything.
It's funny, the one commercial we didn't mention that actually I laughed pretty heartily at was the Dr. Pepper commercial that had the transfer portal.
That's been going on all season.
I love that.
I missed that. I love that.
I missed it entirely. I was laughing my ass off.
Oh, no, we lost our quarterback.
No, they're not our quarterback. We built our offense around
you.
Our offense revolves around you.
I have missed that entirely.
Yeah, that's been going on for a few
enjoy
weeks.
that one.
I thought that was hysterical. But, I mean, is it wrong? No. Is it really wrong to think about that, Benny? And when you don't have to worry about that, the coordinator position, I'm looking at Spagnuolo last night going, you know what? This is the life. This is the life. Like, you just dial up the defense at the right time, and you're a champion, and you don't have to worry about the media or any other crap. Like, you just go out and do what you're good at. I understand, there's guys that want to be the man. Then there's guys that are just really, really good at their specialty.
Here's the sad thing. USC, understandably, took the gold. The Big Ten gold, and they wanted to go, and the massive media rights and everything that goes with it when they were offered a spot. And they kind of dragged UCLA along with them because they wanted to keep the rivalry and the LA schools together. So the Big Ten took UCLA. UCLA doesn't belong in the Big Ten. This is a clear sign that it was a mistake for UCLA to leave the Pac-12. If you could go back in time and undo this, let USC go. Let them go by themselves. Keep the Pac-12 together. You invite San Diego State like they were about to, like they were minutes away from doing, essentially. If UCLA doesn't go, I don't think Oregon and Washington leave. You have a Pac-12. It stays together. It makes so much more sense for college sports. You don't just blow up the entire West Coast. Obviously, it's great for San Diego State, and none of this had to happen. And now UCLA is in a conference that they're going to be completely overmatched at a school where their coach doesn't even want to be the head coach because he knows how bad it's going to be and be irrelevant and have to do extra traveling for everything just to be irrelevant in football. And it didn't have to be this way. And that's what's such a bummer. It could have worked out really well, I think, for a lot of schools and not that badly for UCLA either had they just stayed. But they couldn't turn down the money either once it was being offered. They went, and they will make a lot of money in the Big Ten, but they will get their brains smashed in. Unless they come up with a genius coaching hire at this point, it's looking like it's going to be a really tough road for UCLA for a few seasons.
For sure. I kind of, I get why he did it. I absolutely get why he did it. It sucks that they got strung along there, but it makes sense for him. It's one thing that we need to remember. At the end of the day, we talk about it all the time. Everyone wants to bitch at players all the time for leaving and this and that. There's no loyalty. There's not even loyalty from your head coach. No. If you can't have loyalty from your head coach, you're going to ask, I want loyalty from you, but I'm not going to give it. What's that about? Right? Like, you need to be loyal, but you're not going to get it from me. But I need you to be it.
You like to give advice, but you don't like to take it.
Exactly
you need
right.
to be loyal, but if I get a better opportunity,
I'm gone.
See you later.
I'm out. Yes, I know I convinced your parents
this
to send
isn't
you
even
here.
A better opportunity. This is a worse opportunity, technically. He went from head coach to offensive coordinator in the same conference, and it took a pay cut to do so.
Sure.
I mean, is that not an indictment? If he was getting paid more, you can say, well, he went for the money.
Yeah,
if he took another head coaching job, you could say, well, he's a head coach. Same conference, you went from head coach to it's like
Ohio State
it's like
UCLA.
Brian Dutcher goes, You know, I'd rather be an assistant coach at New Mexico than be the head coach at San Diego State.
It's not the same. It's not
but
close to the same.
It's not because San Diego State's so good.
No, but right.
Okay. All right. It's like it's like Air Force's head coach rather being an assistant coach at San Diego State than being the head coach at Air Force. Same conference. Doesn't want to be with the school there.
But let's talk about the echelons in the conference.
You got to factor in where Chip Kelly's at in his career, his age, and all of that. I mean, that plays a role. Like a young guy, a guy in his 30s, would you rather be the head coach of the Carolina Panthers or the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs?
Right. I mean, I think you take the. I think
if you're older, like Chip Kelly, you want that. You'll take that OC role because you're going to win a couple more ships, and you're done.
It essentially happened with San Diego State. Rocky Long left head coaching at San Diego State to be the offensive coordinator at New Mexico.
Yeah, it's not.
He really did.
But it's not the same.
But that was more of a personality, I think, kind of a Rocky thing.
It's not the same in that you're going to one of the elite football universities in the country from a program you were trying to build back up. It makes sense to me. It does. It makes perfect sense to me. And but yeah, you're right. I mean, they're going to get their money, but it's going to be a bloodbath
Justin
there for a
says
while.
in the chat, UCLA is like a junior college compared to Ohio
it's
State.
absolutely true.
But they're in the same conference.
They are in the same conference.
That's the problem.
Yep.
Yeah, fine. I mean, there is tiers of college football. I get that. San Diego State's not on the same tier either.
Right.
But they don't have to play Ohio State and Michigan every single year in the Big Ten. They get their brains beaten in too. And UCLA is a lot closer right now to a Mountain West school in football than they are to a Big Ten school in football. Sorry, that's the reality. All right, let's give away some Aztecs tickets. Send you to Viejas Arena tomorrow night. You can go to goaztecs.com to get your own tickets. But to watch the Aztecs play the Colorado State Rams, be the fourth caller, 833-288-0973. Fourth caller, 833-288-0973. Call now. We'll come back. We'll wrap up with a little more Padres talk, get you ready for day 2 of spring training. We still have some sound. I want to hear from Michael King.
Yeah.
Some of the other audio we haven't gotten to earlier.
We got a couple of early reports as well. We can let you guys know who showed up to Peoria this morning.
Maybe a surprise for some people. Coming up next on 97.3 The Fan. tickets to give away for the New Mexico game later this week. Is that a Friday? I think that's a Friday game for San Diego State. So 2 home games this week for the Aztecs. And by the way, just had that discussion about Chip Kelly. Well, breaking news, UCLA has, in fact, named a new head coach this morning. They've gone with former Bruins running back Deshaun Foster, who has been the running backs coach for UCLA. So he will take over for Chip Kelly as the team transitions to the Big Ten. And not a knock on Deshaun Foster, apparently, was the overwhelming choice of the players who really like him and believe in him.
They were tweeting about him.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of calling
He's like
for
their
him
Sharon Moore.
Yeah.
The only problem is if he had the ability to do something and change, wouldn't they have been better the last couple of years? It's hard when you just promote an assistant after you haven't had that great of a season or two. It's like, well, if he was so great,
well,
why,
maybe they
why
hated
weren't they
Chip
better?
Kelly.
It's possible.
Yeah.
I didn't get the sense that they were trying to fire Chip Kelly though, and get rid of him. We'll see. Wish him some luck. I have no ill will toward UCLA.
Sounds like you do, but
I just think they're in a bad situation here. And Deshaun Foster, I mean, yeah, you take the job. It's your school, and you're going to be a Big Ten head coach for the first time. Not many people get to be a first-time head coach and go straight to the Big Ten as their first head coaching job. So, yeah, he's got to take that job, but he's got a big challenge ahead of him for the UCLA Bruins. All right, let's talk some more Padres after traffic here. I want to hear a little more audio from some of the guys who spoke yesterday, and Woods is going to tell us who has already shown up in camp this morning early here on a Monday, next on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Soapy Joe's. Tow truck is still helping to clear a crash westbound 8 near Rosecrans, blocking the right lanes. Also traveling on the westbound King Freeway before Massachusetts. Stalled vehicle over the right shoulder. Traveling east on the 52 right before the 15. Another stall. This one's partially blocking the fast lane. Big news from Soapy Joe's Chief Bubble Officer, Tony Gwynn Jr. Win a $10,000 trip to see your baseball team play across the seas. Play our Soapy Joe's new AR game and win amazing prizes. Visit SoapyJoe'sCarWash.com for more details. Soapy Joe's is good, clean fun. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So Padres pitchers and catchers reported at camp yesterday. Sammy Spring Training joined us earlier, and you can listen throughout the day for live reports from Sammy here on 97.3 The Fan. He did have a shot of Ha-Seong Kim, who was there early. Didn't see any other position players yesterday, although he admitted wasn't in the locker room, so he couldn't see everybody. But this morning, some newcomers already in Padres camp.
Well, as you like to say, he's our man on the scene in the beast of the belly, as you so eloquently put. Sammy Levitt tweets, Jake Cronenworth and Manny Machado have arrived inside the Padres clubhouse in Peoria this morning. I like that.
I think they all realize that this is already a short spring training.
Robert Suarez is also there, Benjamin. He has made his way. Yeah,
good.
So that's good.
You know, a lot of spring trainings, let's be honest, are too long for some of the players.
Yep.
They're only so long because the pitchers need that much time to kind of build up and be ready to start. But for position players, I've heard many times, they said, yeah, 3 weeks, maybe 4 tops is all I need. So reporting to camp before Valentine's Day for a season that doesn't start until maybe April 1st is kind of a drag for guys.
Good way to get out of Valentine's Day bits, though.
So they don't tend to race there before the official report date. But this year, with the Padres leaving for Korea on March 13th, we're a month away from that date where they leave. So that's the 4 weeks. So they're ready to get in and get to work right away. I mean, the Dodgers reported last week. They were in last Friday.
Last Friday.
I think their full squad reports today or tomorrow. So I wouldn't be surprised if you get more early arrivers than a normal season for the Padres this year.
Quick note on that. Did you guys see Nabil Krismat's
Sure
Instagram
did. Yeah, it
post?
broke my heart.
That hurt.
Yeah, it broke my heart in two.
That one hurt. He posted pictures of him out at Dodgers spring training, him throwing in the Dodger blue, and then a picture of him in the clubhouse
shaking hands with Ben's buddy.
Dave Roberts, Ben's buddy. And he says, day 1 on the books. Nice to be in blue now.
Oh, man. Yeah, it stings a little
Yikes.
bit. But hey, listen, out of all the guys on their team, all of the guys on their team, I hope we see Nabil Krismat a bunch. That's one that I look and say, bring him in. The more times we get to see Nabil, better our chances of absolutely barreling baseballs. Nothing against Nabil at all. Nothing. But he's not the guy on the Dodgers that strikes any fear into me whatsoever.
I'm of two minds on this.
Is he going to find 15 mile an hour of velocity? Maybe. He might.
No, I mean, Nabil for the Dodgers would be a mop-up man, correct?
Oh, yes. Yes.
And I don't really see the Dodgers suffering a lot of 12-1 losses.
Nope, they're going to be 12-1 victories.
The mop-ups for Nabil, if he's on the team, will be in games they're so far ahead that they don't want to waste anybody.
I mean, every team
so
needs
in that
one.
sense, I don't really want to see Nabil coming into a lot of games against my team.
Everybody needs one.
Because it likely means my team is down double digits at that point.
I will probably serve in that role for the tier ones, mop up or down. I know it. I know it's coming.
Hey,
so.
if the Dodgers are losing so many games by 10 runs that Nabil's getting in like twice a week, that's fantastic news for all of us.
Yeah,
I mean, that is fantastic.
If he gets in and turns nasty, we're launching an investigation into their facilities. We're launching an investigation. It's going to happen. I will get subpoenas.
They're replacing their
things.
players with some sort of advanced robot
There's
technology.
something going on. If he goes in, he's a soft tosser, my friends, and he's a good dude, and I really like Nabil. I do. And that's part of the game you have to play.
I get it.
Right? When we were across the street, we hated this place. When we came here, we had to pretend that we liked it. And now we love it. So there you go.
So guys who already kind of turned the corner, pitching-wise, include Michael King, who did so last season with the New York Yankees, especially late in the year when he made some impressive starts down the stretch with stuff that really intrigued all of baseball and was enough to be the centerpiece. I know he says, I'm not the centerpiece. It was a big trade, but you know, you can make the argument that he was the Padres' biggest return in that Juan Soto trade. He reported to spring training yesterday. Now, is there more to his game that can be unlocked by a pitching coach like Ruben Niebla? Michael King talked about working with the new Padres pitching coach.
My first call about Ruben was with Corey Kluber, and so I know he just retired, but he told me that he would not have 2 Cy Youngs without Ruben, and immediately that makes me really confident going into it. And then the first conversation I had with Ruben was like an hour and a half long conversation. And it wasn't really just about me. It was just about pitching in general. And I couldn't feel like I fit more with him than anybody else. He's super prepared in terms of video and really just homework on hitters. And that's my favorite thing to do. I always said that my greatest strength was knowing the hitter's weakness. And with a guy like that is so decorated as he is in terms of helping pitchers, Kluber's a guy that I emulated myself off of. I'm so excited to get to work with him and actually see him in season. Even like throughout the whole off season, I would send videos here and there, normal off seasons, but Ruben was like, hey, we got to up the communication. I want to talk to you all the time. Every time you get off the mound, I want to know how you're feeling. Yes. And it's great to just have that guy that I can go back on and really trust in terms of what he's doing mechanically and also then in season when we get preparation-wise.
You learned your slider from Kluber, is that right?
Kluber was the one that taught me. I still call it the Kluber ball. I'm not huge into the sweeper term of it, but it's a Kluber ball to me.
You throw like a curveball?
Kluber always struggled to define it, and that's why it's now called the sweeper. But it's from my slot, I have to feel like I'm throwing a curveball because I'm a lower slot. But guys that have a higher slot that are trying to get that sweep have to think that they're more slinging it from a lower slot. So it's really different per pitcher. With Kluber, it was the main point for me was actually shortening my stride so I could feel like I'm getting on top of the ball because everything I throw is more underneath it because I'm a lower slot guy. And I didn't have that cue until Kluber watched me, and he was like, hey, I think we got similar release points, and these are the cues that helped me, and it became one of my best pitches for the last couple of years. Yeah.
So Michael King, I think the hope for most of us is that he can duplicate the performance that we saw in the second half of last season from the Yankees, but there's always the chance that he can even improve upon that. And if he does, Michael King turns into an ace-type performer at that point. He can be a 1 or 2 guy, not just a 3 guy behind Musgrove and Darvish, but he could be your best starting pitcher this year. There's some things that you worry about, the innings of, stretching out from 100 and change innings to a full season of 180.
Niebla just did it with Seth Lugo, who
Quite
had been
well.
a reliever, and sometimes a long reliever. Sometimes he would close games for the Mets. He'd done it all, and if you have the right mentality, and Lugo certainly did last year. That's what he wanted to do, and it sounds to me like Michael King wants more of the same. if he's ready, man, then you make him ready. You let him go out and take those starts and work those innings, Ben. And Ruben's done this before, so I'm pretty confident about Michael King and his abilities, and obviously the good relationship is already forming between those two. That's a good thing.
Sticking with Michael King, I think certainly the Padres were the talk of baseball at this time last year with all the moves that they made, and what happened to them during the season had to be some fodder for, what were other teams saying about the Padres? What were the impressions outside of San Diego? Michael King talked a little bit about what he had seen from the Padres and, how he felt joining them at this point now for the 2024 season.
I mean, they spent a ton of money and they got a great locker room in there. And the talent that they have still in there, even though they lost Hader and Snell. I guess I don't know about Snell, but and Soto, it's insane to walk through that locker room and see the guys that are in there. Joe and you are two guys that I'm like pumped to work with. They're super hard workers. I came in and I'm like, the ace of the team is the first one here today. It's weird things like that I'm just really pumped to be around. And then I've met Manny once. He's awesome. And then Bogart's this guy that I'm so glad I'm not facing him ever again. So the talent that's here is insane. I know they underperformed last year, but I think that we still have a ton of talent in here, and we're kind of meshing as a team, and I think that chemistry is something that can really add to wins.
I like Michael King right away.
I do too.
I really do. He's excited about working with this team.
We're in the media. We like anyone that doesn't give you cliched turd answers. Let's be honest. I mean, that's why we're probably so high on him, because you can actually have a conversation with him, which is a rarity these days. So, definitely saying all the right things for now, and goes in, puts in the work. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be a part of this team, and I'm excited to have him. I think he's a great addition.
All right, do we want to pull out any other sound, Paulie, or we're good now? We've already gotten. I see we're going to get probably more. Annie and Elston will have more. Sammy's talking to Ha-Seong Kim already this morning and getting some sound from him, so I'm sure you'll hear plenty more with Annie and Elston and Gwen and Chris as the day goes on from Padres spring training, as more guys report, and we get to the full day 2 of camp coming up today in Peoria, Arizona.
Anything else for the Super Bowl you wanted to talk about?
Yes, we didn't address Travis Kelce nearly knocking over his head coach, Andy Reid.
Wow.
And Andy Reid, I think one of the reasons why he's going to go down as one of the great coaches now in NFL history, gets his 3rd Super Bowl ring after a long and successful run with the Eagles. He's now got 3 Super Bowl rings with the Kansas City Chiefs. But being a head coach is also about managing players. And that easily could have been a really bad situation for Travis Kelce. If we saw what happened. Second quarter, Pacheco fumbles, Kelce runs over to the sideline, is giving Andy Reid an earful about something, nearly knocks him over.
Yeah, he was saying, keep me in the game. Keep me in the game, because the guy that was responsible for blocking the guy that forced the fumble would have been Travis Kelce's assignment. So he was hot. He's like, this is the Super Bowl. I'm supposed to be in there. And you, by making that sub, just cost us a turnover, Andy. And he was pissed. There was a little bit of, it didn't feel like he went up to him with the intent of bumping him. He just wanted to kind of get in his face. But one kind of stumbled into the other, and it looked terrible. And
here's what Andy Reid had to say.
Yeah, he caught me off balance. I wasn't watching.
Yeah.
Cheap shot, but that's all right. He did good. He was really coming over, just put me in, I'll score. So that's really what it was. Well, I love that. I mean, it's not the first time, so I appreciate it.
But he diffused something that could have been an ongoing story. And obviously, if the Chiefs had lost, it probably would have been even worse. But I'll give Travis Kelce a pass a little bit. When I saw it looked like once he bumped him, he almost tried to catch him. Like, I'm not trying to knock my coach over on purpose. I saw some people suggesting now if this had been another player and not Travis Kelce, there could have been a bigger deal. It would have been a huge story.
Like you said, it's not the first time. I mean, these guys, you had Rice going up and down the sideline screaming at Mahomes. And it happens. Like, that's the thing, is every year there's going to be a baseball team that fights in the dugout, and everyone's going to go, oh,
you had Manny screaming at Tatis a couple of years.
It happens all the time. We just don't see it.
Every team it happens. People scream at each other. I think
I was fired up, man. I was fired up, and we weren't hitting on all cylinders. And
I had to give Big Red a love tap there and let him know that we were all here fighting for him no matter what.
I think what's unusual for people is if you're not in a professional situation, the coach isn't necessarily like, it's not like your high school coach where you can't ever talk back or anything. Pro players talk back to their managers all the time. It's more of an equals discussion.
It's like a don't show me up thing. In baseball, that's a big thing. Don't show me up. You want to chew me out, bring me down in the clubhouse and you let me have it. Don't you do it out on the mound when I come to take the ball from you. Things like that. So, the cameras caught him. He was absolutely giving it to Reed. I don't think he meant to take him out or anything, but hey, at the end of the day, they got the job done.
All right, you'll get all of Annie and Elston's thoughts, Super Bowl, Padres, and more coming up next. Good first show of the week, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 a.m. We'll continue our Tier 1 tour. More live reports from Sammy Spring Training as well. For executive producer, imaging director, Paul Reindl, and Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great rest of your Monday from all of us here at 97.3 The Fan. So long.